everybody about our special giveaway. Every single day, we are giving away to one lucky winner the chance to have 3 years of free streaming with BeLive. This is worth $900. All you need to do to enter is go to livecon2019.com and register, or simply drop the words LiveCon in the chat box below, and we will announce the first winner after today's session. So who is excited about that? Let me see some LiveCons in the comment section. And while you guys are doing that, I want to remind everybody to give a big shout out to our dear friend, Owen. Owen is recuperating from some surgery. We wanted to say, hey, give him a hashtag Owen if you're thinking about him. The best is yet to come. So we know he is going to be back super soon, ready to entertain. We wish Owen that you get better soon. And what's that? Samuel says, oh, that's awesome. Samuel, it is awesome. 3 free years of live streaming with BeLive worth $900. Get well soon, Owen. Awesome. So I want to invite our first guest up into our screen. His name is Ryan Lestrange, and Ryan is an author, a leader, and a prophetic pioneer. I am so excited to hear what he is going to talk about. His talk is entitled Launch Out. So everyone, welcome Ryan.
Hello, I'm excited to be here for LiveCon 2019. Thank you so much.
So excited to have you. I'm going to let you have the stage.
All right, thank you. Well, listen, I want to talk to you on the subject of launch out. You know, BeLive has been such a trailblazing company in the area of broadcasting. And one of the things I do is I'm an author. These are a couple of my latest books here. These are Christian books. I'm a Christian author. But broadcasting and really harnessing the momentum of social media has been a critical part of my success. I also have a media company in which I produce live events, pre-recorded events, e-courses, those sorts of things. So BeLive has been groundbreaking because it's allowed me to be able to bring guests in an easy to navigate format. But you know, so many of you that are watching this, you've got an idea. You've got a concept. You've got a gift from God. You've got something on the inside of you that's bigger than the world around you, but you have a major stumbling block called fear. And fear always binds. I always tell people you can recognize the presence of fear because it halts your movement and it halts your momentum. Whenever fear is present, you just feel stuck. And sometimes we're afraid of failure. Sometimes we're afraid of rejection. Sometimes we're afraid of the unknown. That's why I wanted to title my talk today, Launch Out, because I believe so many of you, to get from where you're at now to where God wants to take you, you've got to launch out. And I want to speak to you about the subject of launch out. Now let's pause and reflect on media. Why is media important? Well, media is a voice. Media both reflects and shapes culture. When we look at different eras, we can see different types of media being produced. If you want to impact culture, there's no better place than media. And in the previous generations, we had various forms of media, print media, radio. I remember, the days and the era of radio, especially when the advent of television came into play. It was a great transition from media that was mostly audio-based into visual-based. And I wasn't alive during this time. You probably weren't alive during this time, but the first movies were silent movies, and the actors had to be able to express the whole story with their face. And then technology evolved, and there were movies with sound, and then television came. And so media keeps moving, it keeps evolving, and it's very important that we get involved with media. If you have a business in the 21st century, whether it's a fitness business, whether it's a multi-level marketing business, whether you're like me, you're an author. You know, when I got my first great publishing contract with a publisher, one of the things they looked at was my social media platform. So in any business endeavor in today's 21st century marketplace, you've got to engage media. Media is a storytelling business. That's what it is, and it's powerful. Now, television brought in the era of broadcasting. Today's era is the era of what I call narrowcasting. It's finding an audience and speaking directly to that audience and maximizing the potential of that audience. So where is the most dominant form of media today? Online media. in particularly social media. Social media is such a vital part of our daily lives. And to really engage in social media, you've got to ask yourself, what is my voice? What platform will I use? You know, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got a lot of emerging platforms that are available, and visual content is key. The algorithms of Facebook tell us that if you post a live video, it's going to automatically shoot to the top of what people see in their feed if they're a follower of your page or they're a friend of yours. So video is king. That's why I believe we have got to launch out in the area of video. So you got to ask yourself those things. Also, it's very critical that you build your audience first before you ever ask them for anything. If you're selling a product, you want to gain their trust. You want to put out great content. You want to release things that will help your audience, whatever your audience may be, whether it's real estate, whether it's fitness, whether it's ministry, whether you're an author, whatever it may be. You want to engage your audience and give them a ton of good content before you ever ask them for anything. Now, let me give you a couple of key stats and then we'll dive into the topic of launch out. There are 3.2 billion social media users worldwide. So 42% of the population is engaged in social media. 2/3 or 68% of all American adults use social media. This is epic. This is huge. So you want to reach people, they are on social media. If you've got a great idea, you've got a great vision, you've got a great plan, social media is the place that you want to be. But you're going to have to launch out. The word launch means to hurl. It means launched at an arrow at a target. It means to release, to catapult, to send off, to send off. It means to spring forward. It means to enter energetically. So I believe there is a launch in your life, a launch out moment to enter energetically. And I want to talk about 3 launch out keys, because I know some of you are saying, hey, I've got a great idea, but I can never do what you're doing on video. I promise you, you can, but you've got to confront fear. Fear will rob you, fear will blind you, and fear will stop you. Let me say it again. Fear will rob you, fear will blind you, and fear will stop you. And many of you have got one idea, one thought that has a whole lot of economy attached to it, a whole lot of changed lives attached to it, but fear is stopping you. And the first video you do, you might stumble. You might make a mistake. You know, the great thing about social media is that video talks like this one, it's not about being polished, it's about being honest. And so if your audience sees you make a mistake and you say, man, I just messed up my word, I just said something the wrong way, but I'm just going to keep on going, that'll actually build authenticity, because there are members of your audience that they're fighting fear as well. They're fighting to go to that next level. They're fighting to go to that next place. So don't feel like you can't do it. You have something to contribute in this grand place called the world. There's a reason you're alive. There's something in your voice. There's something in your mind that the world needs. There's a contribution out there. And again, for business people, for people trying to tap economy, I'm telling you, social media is where it's at. Imagine this. It used to take thousands and thousands of dollars to do something on television. Now, from your home, you can reach thousands of people on your phone. It's an amazing opportunity. So let me give you 3 launch out keys. I'm going to keep it very simple. Key number 1, you say, I don't know how to get started. Key number 1, believe in the message. You've got to have a message. So I write books. So a lot of my messages are about my books. Again, I'm a Christian. That's my place in the world. But if I've coached people in different areas. I've coached people in fitness. I say, look, people are unhealthy. They need to be healthy. You've got a message. If you don't believe in your message, nobody else is going to believe in your message. So one of the things you got to confront in your own heart is you got to confront that part of you that maybe does not believe in your own message. You got to be convinced that what you have is valuable, that your voice is valuable. A lot of times you're going to have to peel off some identity lies. You're going to have to peel off some things. You're going to have to change the way you think. You're going to have to work through some processes. And those are things that are too deep for me to cover in this brief amount of time. But you've got to believe in the message. In believing in the message, here's a critical question for your business, for your ministry, for your broadcasting, for whatever you're trying to do in the world. What problems will you solve? The world is waiting on a problem solver. The arrival of a problem solver is a game-changing endeavor. So whatever you're doing, fitness, technology, medical information, fashion. You're going to solve somebody's problem. It seems so simple, but you know what? What if I'm trying to get a job and I've gained a bunch of weight and I don't know really how to dress to look good when I go to a job interview, and you may know how to help me. You're solving a problem for me. So if I'm going to solve your problem, I believe in my message. That's why I can invite you to my seminar and tell you, hey, my seminar costs this much, because I believe in my message. I believe in what problems I'm going to solve for you. I know it's going to be of value to you. So key number one to launch out, believe in the message and ask this question: what problems will I solve? Key number two, let me say this: all good businesses are businesses that address a problem. That every good business, every good marketable thing solves a problem, okay? Key number two, believe in the messenger. This is huge. This is where some people need some counseling. They need some prayer. They need some therapy, because they don't believe in the messenger. They believe in the message. They believe that the problem can be solved, but they don't believe they're the one that can do it. You have valuable life experience. There's something in you that can help somebody. I heard one author give the analogy: if all you do is bake cookies, there's someone out there that needs a good cookie, but you got to believe in yourself. You got, and I'm a Christian minister. We got different people on here who are of different faiths, but as a Christian minister, I believe God believes in me. I believe that God invested so much in me. That's why he came to earth, so I can enter into the world believing, hey, if God believes in me, I should believe in myself, because God doesn't make any junk. So wherever your faith is, or if you have no faith, you know what? You're still valuable. Let me encourage you. You're still valuable, and there's something in you that will help a lot of people. So you have to believe in the messenger, and you got to ask yourself this question: what is my unique voice? There's something about your voice that can change the world. When I began to write about certain topics, I would realize somebody else already wrote about that. And a friend of mine said, they did, Ryan, but your audience wants to hear your perspective, because your voice is unique. So you've got to work through identity issues. You've got to work through condemnation. You've got to work through rejection, and you got to peel those layers off, so that not only do you believe in the message, but you believe in the messenger. And I believe that level of confidence can really help you. And then the third point, believe in the audience. Who connects with you, and who do you want to connect to? Is your message for single moms? Is your message for middle-aged guys? Is your message for young people? And naturally, who's already connecting to you? That is a key indicator. So to summarize, 3 launch out keys: believe in the message, believe in the messenger, and believe in the audience. You are a problem solver, and video is a way you can connect. Don't stay on the shore, but launch out. Get started, learn as you go, and maybe get a good coach. I always tell people, sometimes it's going to take a coach to help you get where you want to go. So I know I'm just about out of time, but I hope that'll help people today.
Ryan, that was phenomenal. Thank you. We have so many good comments here, so many people that needed to hear this amazing information. The number one takeaway I got from you, I mean, aside from the 3 key points, which were incredible, but this was this resonated with me. Give content before you ask your audience to give you anything, right? We want to give more than we receive. And I think that message came through loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know everybody here is like, I love this, believe, wow, awesome. Joyce is here. Everyone's like, wow, this was fantastic. We wish we had a little bit more time with you, Ryan, but I wanted to thank you once again for joining us today. And we look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you. And you guys have an awesome rest of the LiveCon.
Thank you, Ryan. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was fantastic. All right. So up next, we have our famous BeLive moderators. We've got Stephen Healy, Brigitte Limbanda, and David Burrows. I'm going to bring them in just 1 second. But before I do, I'm going to give you guys a little bit about what they are going to be talking about. The 3 moderators have been with BeLive since the beginning, and what they do is incredible. They have been taking care of the BeLivers community from the start. So today they're going to be reminiscing about their years with BeLive, and then they're also going to be offering you guys at home some tips and some help with your live streaming. So without further ado, let's welcome them all up into the stream.
Good day.
Hello.
Hello.
Right.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, Stephen.
Hello, David. You did tell me to get changed. Now, I haven't had a chance to change my attire, but I have had a chance to change my background.
Okay, well done. And before we get started there,
Hi.
I just want to say thanks to Ryan. There are a lot of powerful messages in there. And I would recommend people go check him out and learn more from him.
I agree. And I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been on the show. Hang on just a second. I've got a noise in my headphones, which I created. And my headphones have dropped off again, Brigetti.
No comment.
No comment. It happens every single show that we do together.
No, I mean the space between your heads and the noise. Anyway, never mind.
No, Canadian. Have you been following the rugby?
Have I been following the rugby?
Yes. Can Canada have a rugby team?
Yes, you've told me that. Have I been following the rugby? I believe was the question. The answer is no.
Oh, right. Okay. all I can say is that they've played well, but they'll be home soon.
Okay. You're being polite.
I am.
We're hockey and curling.
We don't do either of those. We're soccer, rugby, cricket.
There you go.
Which,
how are you, Brigetti? How are you?
I'm very well, and you? Soccer, rugby, cricket are all great things in South Africa because I'm down in Cape Town. But I'm not a great sports person myself, but I know that my country is big on sport.
There you go.
Indeed it is, especially the cricket team. Especially the cricket team. Right, I suppose we could start off with our journeys with BeLive, because it's been quite a journey. I mean, I showed in the previous show photographs of Sophia and Daniel back in 2016, but we've been involved from the outset. And from all of us, shout out to Mr. Jeff Adams, who helped create the BeLivers group, which we moderate. So Jeff, hope you're doing well. And also shout out, whilst the three of us are here, to Owen, who's not part of this 3 days. We wish Owen a speedy recovery, a speedy and steady recovery. Because that's the whole thing about it. This is a community, isn't it? I mean, BeLive have built a community of people. It's not individuals. Yeah. We're all for one and one for all.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
Right, I'm going to stop asking yes/no questions, haven't I?
Well, I was sort of just waiting. I'm like, I talk a lot, and I thought, well, maybe Brigetti will jump in there, and then, well, whatever.
Okay, so
there you go.
So for anyone who's watching today who doesn't know who I am, my name is Brigetti Limbanda. I am one of the moderators who love to help you upscale your live streaming game. And we welcome questions and all the time. We love to help people. I'm a social entrepreneur and a live streaming advocate, and I love to help brands and thought leaders tell their stories. And so, like many of you here, I produce and host online live streaming shows for social media and the web, and lead conversations with entrepreneurs and thought leaders. So, of course, my journey with BeLive started 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, I couldn't introduce myself with confidence the way I do now. So if you're watching the show and you're just getting started, know that it's okay, because there was no way I could introduce myself this confidently 3 years ago. It's been quite a phenomenal journey. So my story is that I got started in live streaming for social good. That happens to be my thing. It happens to be my passion. I saw a social need, and I decided that that social need was greater than my fear of going live. So it was quite a journey. I was very nervous in the beginning. It took a lot of practice. It took a lot of encouragement. I watched tons and tons and tons of people. And one of the people I admired right from the beginning was people like Jeff Adams, for example. You know, I watched a ton of his shows. I watched Molly's shows. There were so many role models in the BeLivers group. I mean, the group is now like 10,000 strong. Phenomenal live streamers. So if you're just getting started, you just need to know that it's okay if you're nervous in the beginning. It's a growth path, and you'll get to the point where you feel confident. You know, my first passion, for example, was the Cape Town water crisis, which was we were running out of water, and people needed to get information. And from my research, there was nothing as engaging as live streaming to help bring a community together. And I was filled with a passion to be able to help myself and help my community. And I realized that with live streaming, although I didn't know much about water per se, other than I'm a user of water, but I realized that I could engage with thought leaders in the in water and interview them and grow in my knowledge and share that knowledge with my fellow citizens who were in need as well. So that is what helped me to overcome my hurdle of life. So find your passion is my message. Find your passion, and it'll help you realize that it's bigger than just you, and let that passion drive you. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, but David, your story goes further back than that.
Yes. Well, where to begin? Well, I've been live streaming actually for about 10 years. And people say, what? Live streaming's been around that long? Yeah, I got started. It was something called Ustream way back. And I wasn't doing it full time. Don't get me wrong. My background is as a mobile disc jockey. I DJed weddings and stuff. I was a full-time karaoke host. Yes, that was a career for 20 years. So, I come from an entertainment background and I guess being comfortable in front of the microphone. But as I was sharing earlier on your pre-show there, Stephen, it wasn't always like that. First time I ever stood in front of a microphone, I opened my mouth and nothing came out. Right? I went,
yeah.
If you can believe that. I know that's hard for some people to know you believe that now. But that was 30 years ago, right? So, but live streaming for me, my life changed just around that time, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do and all that other stuff. And I was playing around with internet radio. Was I going to go radio or was I going to go video? And I was like, this video thing. Then I saw this, what was that thing called YouTube? I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that.
No.
And I was kind of playing around with that. Anyway, and now here we are. And then I do a community show promoting where I live here in Sarnia-Lambton in Canada. About 73,000 people. And I was recording that for the longest time. There were times that I interviewed people from around the world and recorded it using a third-party app that was really, honestly, quite crap. But it was very well at the time. And when BeLive came along, I was like, I've been just waiting for something. I had the idea in my head, but I wasn't the guy to put it all together. And it's been quite a journey since. And I've always kept looking around, like, is there something else or whatever? But I've never left BeLive. I don't intend to ever leave BeLive. And one of the reasons is what you said about in the beginning, Stephen, is the community that's been built in the BeLivers group, the support that BeLive offers. When they ask, they want us to let them know what we're looking for. And it might not always happen right away. They have to prioritize things, but they do listen. Oh, yeah. And I think that's a key point. I teach live streaming at my local college as part of an esports course. And Ryan said a lot of the same things, tone of voice, all that stuff, exactly what I teach. But one of the biggest things that I teach is building a community. You build a community, and people will do amazing things to make things happen. Build relationships and impact. And BeLive has built a lot of relationships, and they've had a huge impact, not just on the new person, but people like myself who've been doing this for a very long time. And I'm really proud to be a part of BeLive and what they're doing here.
I echo your words there about BeLive. I mean, BeLive is what brought the three of us together.
Absolutely.
Because, David, you and I do a show on Mondays, and Brigitte, you and I do a show on Fridays. So we meet up every week. We're on each other's shows, and we spread the word about BeLive.tv. My journey started before BeLive.tv, but about 4 years ago, I was watching a show on a system called Blab, which for a long time has been a word we couldn't mention, but I think we can mention it now because it's been long enough. And on Blab, the system was that you had 4 people on screen. and you could talk to each other and people could comment as much as people are commenting now. Facebook wasn't in the picture, but Blab was the first time that you could actually go live with other people and have a live conversation on video. And from my point of view, I was sat there watching somebody actually go live from Cornwall down in England. And he said, well, I'm getting towards the end of my show now. If you'd like to join me, just click that link. Before I knew it, I clicked that link. I was in the show, and here we are, 4 years later, and I'm still going live, for which I'm eternally grateful. And I'm the guy who's read the Udemy course, 2 Udemy courses about BeLive. But we've seen a lot fall by the wayside. I mean, we can actually mention Lightstream. That's Huzzer. Yeah. Smile Time.
Oh, Smile Time, yes.
See, we forget, but
how quickly we forget.
All those were part of the live journey until BeLive arrived 3 years ago. And that's when the game changed, because you could actually get 2 people on screen on Facebook. You could see the comments, you could feature the comments on screen. And that's where the story started in October 2016. And we were around. We were fortunate to be in the right place at the right time to hear about it. And it was all done by word of mouth. And it went from less than 100 users to a few thousand users in a couple of days. And the rest, as they say, is history, which brings us neatly up to date and are being here today. Now, we're here today because of the BeLivers group and because we enjoy using BeLive and we use it on a regular basis. When we say something, we're not talking about theory. We've actually all done hundreds of shows on BeLive and enjoy doing so. We've met hundreds of people around the world, and that's key, isn't it? I mean, do you know how many people you've actually met over the last 3 years?
Oh, wow. My goodness. Well, I'm a little, I mean, I've been doing BeLive for that long. I'm into my 415th episode coming up today of my show. Now, keep in mind, there was 8 years of that was all pre-recorded, but I've interviewed people from all over the planet, from Argentina to just pick a country, right? And I think that's probably one of the greatest things is there's no borders anymore. You know, we're one big city. We're not even a planet. You know, we're one big city. And it goes beyond the live streaming. And what I mean by that is, you know, Stephen, you and I have built a really nice relationship, not just in the live stream world and personal. We've shared personal things between us. Brigitte, same thing. You know, we share some personal stories, and it's not just a relationship; it's a friendship as well, right? And not with everybody, because we don't, you know, but you know, there's many. It blows my mind every time we do something like a LiveCon or whatever, and I see these names popping up, and I was like, I've never even heard of that person yet. That's how big this community has grown to, and it's a professional one, but it's a personal one as well.
Oh, absolutely. And for me, you know, you never know what kind of impact you can make with live video. I'm sorry, was I talking over you a bit there? Because I think there's a bit of a lag.
You're good.
You know, you never know what kind of impact you can make with live video. Just to give you my own example for anyone who's watching, you know, with the live streaming that I did using BeLive TV, highlighting the Cape Town water crisis, I had radio and TV stations reach out to me from every corner of the earth. They somehow had seen my live streams, and so I ended up being on well-known radio and TV shows. I was invited there without me connecting with them. They found me. They found my live streams. They saw me as a source of authority based on my live streaming. You know, so you never know what kind of impact you can make. Not just, so here's the key thing. It's not just local impact, it's global impact. So the way I like to call it is that when you use live video, you're literally able to break away from the 4 walls of your business and take your business globally. So it's business without walls. or if you're running a nonprofit, whatever it is you're doing, you're breaking out of a local mentality and making your business services available to people locally. And if people, you think of, I live here with Fons, for example, that you and Fons do, Stephen, and likewise with you, David. When we do shows together, we connect our audiences from our part of the world.
Yep.
And that is phenomenal. It just blows my mind sometimes when you think of how you, as you said, David, we become a global village, as it were.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that global village. Can I borrow that?
Of course. I might do that too.
But the first thing, and we talk, okay, so we're talking relationships and we're talking impact, and that's a huge part of it. I couldn't agree with that more. But the first thing you got to do is click the go live button. And, Ryan mentioned it earlier before we all came on. There is something that's stopping you, and it's we call it camera confidence. It's called fear. It's really fear. I'm afraid of what's that silly shirt he's wearing, or what's that funny looking tie, or what's that crazy thing, and all these stories that we create in our head that we think people might be judging us on.
Yeah,
they typically aren't. But we create those stories. But it's that fear of going live. A recorded camera is one thing. Even that, people just don't like getting in front of a camera, but that can be polished up. Live is honest, right? You can't edit it until it's the way it is. And I think that's probably part of the fear. And we've asked the question before in different programs we've done, what's stopping you from doing that? I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? You click the go live button, and what? Like, what's really the worst thing that could happen?
The worst that could happen is that you're not happy when you watch it back. We'll come to that in a moment. Right. You've got to be happy with your own presence.
Yeah.
And to do that, you don't need to go live to the whole billions of people on Facebook. Right. You just create a Facebook group, find a friend, and you go live in the group, and you go live, and your friend will watch it, and they will give you a critique. And if they're a good friend, they'll be honest. And then you invite more friends into the group until you're actually built up people who will tell you exactly how it is, so that you can improve.
Yeah.
But it's not as frightening when you've actually got friends watching as it is 2.3 billion people on Facebook. Right. But the thing is, sorry, David.
No, and I was just going to say, we talk about judging, right? And the one who's really judging us the most is ourself.
Well, not me, Buzz.
It's not you. It's me. Oh, my hair. I didn't have my whatever.
I used to have hair. I don't have that problem anymore. Basically, if you go live in a group and you build up a number of friends in the group, then eventually what will happen is you feel confident enough to go live on Facebook on your own timeline, and everybody who's in the group will come and barrack for you, to cheer you on, to promote you, to help you and start you off in your live video journey. Yeah. And they're friends. What they're there for is to help you and support you. If they help and support you, then of course you will help and support them. So quid pro quo. And that works best. Do it privately first and then go public afterwards, Brigitte.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great tip. And the other thing I did in the beginning was to watch tons and tons of live streams, because you pick up different tips from different people. And then you want to add your own personality, because the one thing you want to do is be yourself. Because, if you're not yourself, your audience is going to pick that up very, very quickly. We had a conversation, there was a conversation about that in the earlier segment before us, talking about, a lot of people say in many spheres of life, fake it till you make it. In live streaming, it's not something you want to be doing. You want to be your authentic self from the beginning, because that's what people resonate with when you bring yourself to the table. And one of the excuses people often use about live streaming is that, well, there's so many people who sell cars. Why would I want to start a live stream selling cars? Well, the answer to that is people are going to be drawn to the kind of person you are. There may be tons and tons of people who sell cars, but no one else is going to have your unique personality. And it's your unique personality that's going to draw people to want to buy cars from you. So never allow yourself to be put off from getting started in live streaming if you think, well, there's already too many people in my industry. Don't let that put you off. Bring your personality and people will follow you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call that in the technical world, we call that a unique selling proposition. But what that really means is just why am I going to come to you if I'm selling cars and he's selling cars? Why are they going to come to you and not the other guy? And that's your own personal tone of voice there. Again, Ryan talked a lot about a lot of this stuff, and that's, if you're hearing this stuff again for the second time from different people, that's a big clue.
Right. I just want to say hello to Kelly and to Son and to Christine and Graham. I mean, the difference today, of course, is that we're not controlling things. And this is unusual for the three of us, because normally when we do a show, we're producing the show and we can bring all the comments on screen, as Leslie is doing at the moment, and we can actually see them. But at the moment, I've got bright lights shining either side of me, and I can't see a darn thing. So if we miss your name, apologies. So I think I've just missed Karen. Yeah. Okay. So the other thing was, we were just broadcasting earlier in the BeLivers group, and if you didn't catch it, it's well worth a replay, if only to see pictures of Sophia and Daniel from 2016. The thing that we're talking about was being niche, and Fons was talking about he has a friend who's interested in street lighting in Cambridge, which is about as niche as you can get, because how many people will be interested in that topic? And the other thing was that he had a fear of the camera. So what Fons did is he took his portable to Jay's shed, gentleman called Jay, and he put his portable down and said, right, okay, I'm going to press the record button, and all you need to do is speak. Okay, it's not going live anywhere. I'm just going to record it, and what we'll do is I'll premiere it on Facebook on a Sunday night for half an hour, and just talk about what you love. Talk about street lighting in Cambridge. Now, I've watched the show, and the first show he was nervous, second show less so, and the sixth and final show in this series goes out on Sunday, and he's got all the confidence in the world now, and he's saying to Fons, I want to do my own show. So second way is you can actually start off on recording. And this is the magic of the internet. I'm not interested in Cambridge street lighting for more than half an hour, but there are people who are interested in street lighting in different cities and towns throughout the UK, and they've got in touch with Jay, and Jay is now making friends who share his enthusiasm and passion for street lighting. It's the magic of live.
Yeah, it really is. Well, and that's another point too, is do your passion, right? I mean, look, most people doing this live stream thing, it's not full time for most people.
Agreed. Yep.
Right. It's a hobby, and that's fine, right? Then there's people like myself and yourself, Steve. You know, like this is part of what I do full time. That is live streaming, and we can get into that maybe a little bit later. But do your passion. Like, don't feel like you have to impress anybody. And what I find as a person who typically interviews people, once I get them talking about their passion, and they're usually quite nervous, so I don't know if I can talk for 15 minutes or what. Once you get people talking about their passion, they will go on forever. So if you want to make it easy on yourself, do the thing that you do. Don't try to invent something or, well, I got to be as popular as the guy over there. Just do, and I know it's cliche, just do you. Just be you. do the thing that you love, and the words will just, they will. Once you get started, you get past 30 seconds, you will be surprised.
Oh.
That would be.
Well, the thing is, you can lose yourself in a show, Brigetti, because you get so carried away with what you're talking about, what your guest is talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And the other tip I'd like to offer to anyone watching and who wants to still get started in live streaming is, if you haven't yet joined the BeLivers group, be sure to join the BeLivers group. And there are various shows that are unique to the community, that are just purely community shows. And what the hosts often do is that they will invite people in the group to come on screen with them. Take those opportunities. Please do yourself a favor and grab those opportunities, because you're going live within the safety of the community. And it's going to give you the opportunity to practice with a whole lot of people. And you'll find that, the hosts of the shows within the BeLive community are experienced hosts, and they will make you feel comfortable. I did a lot of that in the beginning, and it was amazing. It gave me so much opportunities to practice. And the other great thing that comes out of that is when somebody invites you on the show, you being exposed to their community. So it's an opportunity to grow your own tribe or your own community and expose yourself to people in the other parts of the world. So grab those opportunities with both hands, because when you are a guest, you're not doing any of the controls, so you don't have to worry about that. You can simply allow yourself to be led by the host. And I hope, the hosts are experienced, as I said. They won't hang you out to dry. It'll never happen. So if you fear that, it will not happen. They will guide you. They will direct the conversation, and you can just be yourself. And it's within the safety of the BeLivers group. So, so do that. Grab any opportunity you get when somebody says, "Who's going to volunteer?" Raise your hand, and go for it. Be a guest.
Wise words, and be a guest is a great way of doing it.
There's a little bit of humor in there when you just say that. It reminded me of 2 television commercials from probably way back in the city. What did I say in the city? In the 70s.
Okay.
Brigetti, what did you say? Be sure, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're sure. Does anybody remember that one?
No, you see this. We
sure deodorant. Sure deodorant.
No.
If you're sure.
We live in a global village, and I'm in the UK, and Brigetti's in South Africa, and Canadian television. And
the other one was "Be Our Guest, Be Our Guest, Be Our Guest, and let Disney do the rest."
Well, that's international. That's international.
Okay, off topic, but I had to put it up.
Right. Okay, and say hello to Ronnie and.
Ronnie Fraser, he's from my community here, and actually we knew each other from back in high school, and he's become a great supporter and fan of the live streaming of BeLive, and not just with, this is the other thing, right? Like Kelly, for example, Kelly Shoddy, who's out there, I've known him locally for many, many years, and he followed my stuff, and now he watches you, Stephen, and you and Fonz and Brigetti, and he watches a whole bunch of people. And I do want to take a moment and give a shout out to our friend Dom Fernandez, who started his Talking MS, because he has MS. And there's another good example of doing your passion. He's been fighting MS for 17 years now. And now he, I got him into the live streaming part. We got him a camera and a microphone, and then he started his group to the point now he's met a few other folks, and he's starting to write a book. And it's just one thing has just led to another, and I do want to give prayers to him. He's been in and out of the hospital, and he's back in there again, but he's this weekend, but he's hoping to be back home tomorrow. So Dom, I am thinking about you. And he did say, but here's one of the things, the most positive things about him. He said, "Say hello to Stephen and Brigetti for me. I know you got that show you got to do today." So, there's the relationship that goes beyond the live streaming as well.
Totally. And best wishes for everything, Dom. And kudos for everything you've actually done. I know David's helped you a great deal, but you are now broadcasting on a regular basis, and you're actually broadcasting internationally with Corinda in the UK. I know Corinda's really enjoying producing the shows. So go Team BeLive.
Yeah,
because the whole thing is the spirit of the community of everybody. There's no negative in live broadcasting. It all seems positive. Everybody helps everybody else. There's no, well, people, if you've got a problem, then people will provide you with a solution.
If you've got a problem, Stephen will provide you with a solution because he doesn't sleep. And he's like I hope there's like a BeLive Moderator of the Year award because like he doesn't sleep. You post something in BeLivers, I get up the next day and I look, and Steven's already looked after it. So we just we just floating on Steven's coattails here.
Thank you for that. I do. Right. Okay.
I mean that was
that's very kind.
I'd like to give a shout out to Gospel, who's joined us, to Larissa, who's joined us, to Ronnie Fraser, and to Karen, who's joined us as well. Welcome. Lovely to see you in the comments.
Yeah, when you've sort of arrived, I was doing a 4-person chat. There was a private chat, and sort of talk about yourself, and got around to me, and somebody just piped up. Everybody knows Stephen. Don't say a word. We'll just carry on. Yeah, I know. I'm everywhere. It's because I just enjoy. I'm just so grateful to actually be able to do this with BeLive, and to have made so many friends around the world. And
well, Larissa, you're welcome.
Yeah, totally. Now, one of the things that we do have to touch on just for a moment is that there are thousands of broadcasts which go out on BeLive every day, and we don't hear anything because they're all working perfectly well. Now, the BeLivers group has 3 functions. First is you can promote your own shows in the daily threads that Brigitte is posting at the moment, and believe you me, it works. More people will watch your show. You can chat with other BeLive users in the BeLivers group, but the third thing you can do is you can post your problems. Now, incredibly, not everybody is a member of BeLivers group, but there is some sound advice that we can give to people who do have problems. So if we take it in turns until we run out of ideas, I'll go first because I've got the easy one, is if you've got a problem as host of a show and your image is not good, press refresh. Who's next?
I'm going to carry on with that, but I just want to interrupt our chatter for just 1 second. I want to remind everyone who's currently watching live and anyone who watches on the replay, we've got a competition running with LiveCon 2019 with an absolutely fantabulous giveaway. We have got a 3-year free BeLive subscription valued at $900.
Wow.
And all you have to do to be in the running to qualify for this amazing prize is type LiveCon in the comments. So if you want to be in the running for the 3-year subscription, it's an awesome prize, the best ever, because it's a 3-year celebration of BeLive TV. Do it now. Type LiveCon in the comments and be in the running to get that awesome 3-year subscription valued at $900 for a BeLive TV subscription. Go ahead, type LiveCon in the comments.
Brilliant. And you can type it today. You can type it tomorrow. If you typed on Wednesday, there are 3 prizes, 1 each day.
Should be able to just type "wow." I mean, that's that's awesome. Sorry, Brigitte, were you done with the?
No.
So my quick tip is to avoid any problems with your broadcast. Prepare. Do not do a live show without having done your checks and balances. Do test, do schedule time with your guests in advance, check their microphone, check their camera, check their lighting, make sure it all works. It's going to reduce so much stress.
Yeah.
Before you go live, if you've taken the time to do those tests with your guests, and your guests are going to feel so much more relaxed, because remember, your guests are not broadcasters. But if they know you're in control, you've got it, you've got this, and you've got all the bases covered, they're going to feel so much more confident by the time you go live. So do make time for testing.
Yeah, great advice there. And you know, it might sound like there's a bit of a change going on here. Like, I know for me, when I first started doing my show live, people were like, "Oh, what number do I call?" No, this is video. Oh, is it Skype? And no, okay. So I have a list of things that I send out and instructions to be prepared. It encourages them to get in touch with me, and let's set up a scheduled time for rehearsal or whatever you want to call it. Understanding that people are busy, I get that. So if you can't make the time work for a practice, if it's their first, I have a lot of people who come back to my show regularly, so I've got them trained now, so I don't always have to have that follow-up. But it took me a couple of years to get them trained.
Yeah,
as well, right? So great tips in there. First thing, if you ever have a problem, yes, refresh. And then to Brigetti, the Scouts model, be prepared. Be yourself prepared. Don't expect this to happen a few minutes before. Now, my piece of advice for using the BeLivers group is, if you have a problem, and I see people do this, and welcome to, well, why isn't this working and that working? But let's keep it positive, please. When I see people making comments like, well, this happened and that sucks. Okay, to me, that's just kind of being a little bit negative about it. Have you shared any information of what actually went through? Give as much information step by step. And if you need a longer conversation than that, then I would say get in touch with the BeLive support, and maybe we can get the email for support up on the screen there as well. If it's not a quick fix, and make sure you've got your ducks in a row. You just try to think it through a little bit yourself. But when you're commenting, keep it positive.
Totally agree, because you get more help that way, and people pitch in. Now, if you go live, as we all do, the best time to contact support if you have a problem is whilst you're live. Afterwards, you can tell us what happened, and you can tell us to the nth degree, and the engineers can go after the recording and they can try and check it and get back to you with the solution to the problem. 9 out of 10 they can do that. The other 10% takes a bit longer. But if you report a problem by pressing the orange red button, bottom right hand corner of your studio, you are talking to live support 24/7. And that means that drop yourself in the broadcast, say help in the chat, and somebody will come along and they'll ask you a couple of questions and they will try and help you on the spot. This is why it's so important. If they cannot resolve it from the answers that you give them, then they can call on a technician who's available 24/7. They can actually come into your show and they can see what's going on. They can see David, they can see me, they can see Brigetti, they can see the comments, and they can see the code that's running behind it. Yeah. So if somebody has a blurry picture or bad sound, then they can tell exactly what the cause is there and then. Now, 3 weeks ago, because this is not, David and I have this discussion virtually every week. This is not television. This is not totally broadcast quality. One day it will be when we've got fiber to our routers, then all will be good. Until then, we're going to get the occasional problem. If you do, click the button and you get somebody to help you. Now, 3 weeks ago, I had a problem on the show and I was joined by Slava from the Ukraine, and well, I just had to bring him into the show. So I was on camera, he was on camera, he was diagnosing the fault, I was explaining what he was doing. But at the end of it, he said to me, right, okay, I know what the problem is. Whilst we've been doing this, the technicians have sorted it. Please refresh. And I refreshed and everything was perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. So live support, it's there. You right? Okay.
I have my. I've got
sorry.
my. I don't know if our producer can. I'm trying to share my screen here. I don't know if she can share that, just to show everybody. There it is. Thank you for doing that. So here's the chat that Stephen's talking about. So you're seeing a studio side as though I'm a guest. So I'll go back. So down here in the bottom right hand corner, I click on that, and then there'll be. Do we want to try this live?
Go for it.
Do we have time? Okay. Hello. Doing a test of live support for LiveCon. They're like, who's this guy? Right? But no, of course, this is going to depend if they're busy, because we're not the only broadcasters on BeLive. There's several thousands of us, right? But this is where you would get in touch with. There is support there 24 hours a day, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And that's BeLive doesn't sleep. BeLive doesn't sleep. And that's available to everybody when you're guests. Okay, looks like we're getting a bit of a response. Looks like it's Alina.
Okay, that's good. Now, David and I have a show on Monday, and that's at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's our shout out. Brigitte and I have a show on Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. And on the show this week, we will be covering everything that takes place in the 3 days of BeLive's birthday. So anything you hear about during these 3 days, we'll be doing a review of in the show at 11 a.m. on Friday. If you missed that show, then 12 p.m. Monday will be David and I. So we'll do it twice. And say hello to Patricia and hello, Paul, as well.
There you go. So we're saying just saying thanks to Alina and for them to keep up the great work that they're doing here. So she'll probably
surely. Yeah.
And there's the email address that you can send. If you've got a longer query that needs further investigating, then please use the email, which is team@belive.tv. And they are very, very responsive via email as well. So do drop an email to the team if your problem hasn't been resolved, and send them a link to your broadcast. And I want to just reiterate what you said in closing, David.
Yeah.
If you get stuck, if you're wanting some kind of assistance, please, drop us, tell us exactly what happened in the broadcast. As David said, it's not helpful to us or helpful to you if you leave a comment saying it sucks, my broadcast was a mess. It doesn't help us diagnose what the problem was. Give us a link to your broadcast. Tell us what happened that led up to the problem. It's also useful telling us what your internet speed is. It's useful telling us what system you're using. It's useful letting us know which browser you were using at the time when the problem occurred. Those are useful things to help us diagnose, and we will do our best to help you as moderators in the group. We get great pleasure out of helping people. I love helping people. I know Stephen does and David does. Each and every one of the moderators loves helping people. So, and never hold back from asking. You're not going to learn unless you ask. So please go ahead and ask us in the group if there's anything at all. If you want help with improving your show, if you're looking for guests for your show, if you're looking for ideas for your show, drop them all in there. We want to help. We are available at any time because we work 24/7. The moderators also have been scattered on purpose to be in different time zones so that we can be of assistance.
Yeah. A shout out to Adair and Thione, who have their own show later this week. Well, there we are.
And from my country, if you're celebrating, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Today is Thanksgiving Day here in Canada, so it's been a long weekend. And Stephen, I just want to say thanks to you for taking the lead on this as well. And Brigitte, it's always nice to connect with you. Well, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, David. We're a team. We're a global team.
That was a fantastic segment. I love Find Your Passion. Like you said, you can do a show about anything. As long as you're passionate about it, there's going to be an audience for you. So we have just a couple more minutes while we wait for our next guest to arrive. Does anyone want to share anything in addition to what we've already been talking about? You guys combined have done so many shows.
Yeah.
Sure, I'd like to share one of my passions. I have many. And some of you may have noticed I have put a frame around myself, and it says responsible social media. And it's something that I am passionate about creating awareness around. Because, just by virtue of being on the internet, and of course, I love live streaming, and all of us here do, but I do want to make, caution people to be aware of internet, of cybercrime, be aware of scams online. And so you want to be cautious in your live streams. You never want to give away your location, for example, because most broadcasters have a studio at home. So don't give away your location. Be very, very careful. You want to be internet savvy. You can be authentic without divulging too much personal information about yourself. Authenticity doesn't mean you need to let it all out. That's not what authenticity is about.
That's right.
Yes, we want to make sure we stay safe, especially for someone like myself. I have a young child, and I know anytime I post on social media, I'm very cautious to not divulge anything about where we live, where he goes to school, all of that personal information. That's a really, really excellent point.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, with all of this too, it's I often wonder what we're missing because one of you who's watching is not going live and sharing your story. What great idea is being missed because you're not going live? I don't want to sound threatening to you, but I challenge you to get in front of that camera. And my hashtag is, and I'm trademarking this, don't be shy, hashtag BeLive. Thanks for
I love that.
Don't be shy, be live.
Don't
just
be
enjoy
shy,
going
be
live.
David, that hashtag is synonymous with you.
It is.
I love it. I love it. Do any of you have anything tremendously funny that has ever happened to you while you were live broadcasting? Anything any embarrassing moments?
Now we're on the spot.
Share.
Not that you're willing to share? Okay, you can call me after.
The biggest one to share is not going live, but not having your microphone switched on.
Yeah.
So your lips are moving, but nobody can hear you. Which brings us on to the most common problem that people have got with BeLive.
I'm kidding.
Not kidding. There's a staging area down below. Now, in the staging area, before you come up on the big screen, the host can talk to the guest. You can hear each other. The host can see the guests. And the problem is that you think you're live. You go live, but you're actually in the staging area. You're not on screen. Okay? So people go live without bringing themselves up on screen. So the final tip is, please make sure that you are physically on this big screen in front of you, like Leslie and Brigitte and David and I are now, before you go live.
Yes, because you're bound to say something genius.
Yep.
When you're in the staging area and when your microphone is off, right? And then you get up there and you're like, oh my goodness, now I have nothing else to say. Well, I appreciate all of you taking this time to be here. This was fascinating, and I really love the community of the BeLivers and how everybody is so incredibly helpful. So if any of you are watching right now and you want to become part of that BeLivers group, just let us know. Don't be shy. Be live. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you all in the BeLivers group.
Go LiveCon 2019.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Leslie. Bye.
Thank you. All right. So that was exciting. Wasn't that great? They had such amazing tips for us and so much to talk about. If you are all interested in that BeLivers group, I can get that link up for you. And again, if you have issue while you're going live, team@BeLive.tv is your best friend. You can also chat with them live while you are live, which is pretty phenomenal. There is a little red chat button that you can press, and they will pop right in, and you can say, hey, you know, my screen is fuzzy, or I can't get my microphone on, and they can help you troubleshoot. So we have another couple minutes before our next guest arrives. So I wanted to remind everybody really quick. Here's David. He's back. I'm going to contact you later, David, for that embarrassing story, because that's part of our vulnerability chat today, right? I want to remind you all about our giveaway that is going to be done at the end of today's segment. We are in our afternoon segment, day 1. We are talking about how to be confident on live video. And I know a lot of you are thinking, wow, that's easier said than done, right? But like with everything, practice makes perfect. And our moderators had a really good tip for everybody, which was when you start, set up a little private group for just you and a friend, and you can practice going live back and forth. Give each other helpful feedback. Be nice, but give each other helpful feedback. You can help each other with their lighting and their camera angles, all that kind of fun stuff. And then as you get better and more confident, then you can go live to bigger audiences, right? So we have a big audience here today, and everybody is here. Team BeLive TV, Hi One, HiGospelLive.com. You are entered. I'm super excited about the drawing today. So the 3 years of free basic live streaming is going to be really fantastic. 3 full years, that's valued at $900. So one of the things that our moderators talked about today was finding your passion. Who is here right now that wants to tell me in the comments what your show is about? Or if you don't have a show yet, what your show would be about? Let's pop some exciting, fun sample titles into that chat box below so we can take a look and see what your passion is. One of my personal passions is helping female entrepreneurs go live, use live broadcasting, and also I help women who want to run their online businesses with more authenticity and more integrity and share their vulnerability in a way that uplifts other people. So that's my personal philosophy on live and going live on video. So I'd love it to hear from some people in the comments what your passion is. We talked about, I know Brigitte talked about the water crisis in South Africa. There's just infinite number of things that you can go live about. Our next guest, while we wait for him to arrive, he is going to be Mario Fascini, and he is a live stream video podcast expert. So that is going to be fun. Juan says, who's the guest? He's coming, Juan. He should be here shortly. I think we are having a small technical problem, but that's okay. So awesome. Yes. Okay. So while we wait for him to come, we can do a Q&A with me. How about that? So let's chat really quickly. Oh, Brad is commenting LiveCon. All right. So you are entered now, Brad. Is anybody willing to share their passion, the title of their live broadcast show? Feel free to pop that in the comments. One of the things we talked about earlier this morning with Ryan Lestrange was this concept of coming in and giving content to your audience, extremely valuable content, before you ask them for anything. And I think that that is such an exciting concept, because a lot of times we feel like, gosh, I need to get something back, right? When you're building an authentic, true relationship with your audience, what is going to resonate with them most is that you give them incredible, valuable content so that they can feel comfortable and confident that you have inspired their trust. Larissa is here. Amputees making a difference. That's incredible, Larissa. I would love to see that show. Is that a show that you have on live right now? Or is that a show that you're working on, or a live that you're planning on broadcasting? And Gospel is here. Gospel helps young adults fix their financial situation. That's amazing. Guiding and injecting hope by helping them change their mindset and behavior with money. It's called the Financial Fixer Show. That is a much, much, much needed show. Young adults and financial situations. I know that's a huge, that's a very pervasive problem right now. And Larissa, amputee hairstylist. That's amazing. So when you start your show, Larissa, we want you to come into that BeLivers group, join the BeLivers group, and let us know when that show is going to be running so we can all come in and support you. Awesome. And Gospel, your show, can you tell us when your show is on so we can all make a note of it and we can come and sit down and we can watch with you? Because that sounds absolutely incredible. Another thing that one of our guests this morning, Ryan Lestrange, talked about was fear. And I know fear is a big, big part of why a lot of people get shy about going live, and you think, gosh, I could never do that. But the truth of the matter is, if you have something to say, then like David said earlier, it's kind of like you need to get on live and you need to tell people there is going to be someone out there that needs your message. There's going to be someone out there that needs your guidance. There's going to be someone out there that just simply needs to see your face and know that they are not alone in this world, right? Kenyon, what's the discussion? Kenyon, we're waiting for our next guest. So we are right now, we're just kind of recapping a little bit about what happened earlier this afternoon with our 3 moderators. And to get your name in the hat, Kenyon, all you have to do is comment LiveCon below. Okay, so put the words LiveCon below, and Kenyon, you will be entered into the hat. Gospel says her show is on Monday mornings. Awesome. Awesome. That's fantastic. I am going to tune in for sure. And I cannot wait to see that show. I am going to check in really quickly and see what we are, if we're expecting our next guest soon. Kenyon, there you go. There's your official entry. Awesome sauce. So what have you guys thought so far about this morning? We had a lot of amazing panelists and discussions. Janet Smith was here from Talent Smiths. If you missed that, I recommend going in and rewatching this morning's broadcast. She talked about career advancement. So that would be a really good one, Gospel. Did you catch that? That would be really awesome for you. Mobile Mary Barnett, she talked about how to turn conversations into conversions and cash, which I know we all can use a little more of. And she talked about her BRAVE method, which was really great. She had a wonderful acronym that went through all of the things that you need to do to get brave enough to go online and go live. Oh, I'm super excited. I believe our next guest is here. All right, I'm going to wait and see if his picture pops up. Let's talk to KM really quick. KM, I know you're coming in a little bit later. She teaches how to create profitable business through smart social media marketing. She's an author, and she has a live talk show where they talk to authors every single week. That's incredible. I know that's coming up in about 45 minutes. And Mario, I don't know if I have his feed. Susan is here. Susan says lifestyle, that's her passion. She is an author and book strategist, a social media publicist, health and wellness. Awesome. Fantastic. Graceful aging. I need to tune into that show. That sounds incredible. All right, y'all, our next guest is here. It is Mario Fascini. He is a live stream video podcast expert. He has interviewed tons and tons of other experts and produced more than 3,000 videos on Facebook. Everybody welcome Mario. Hi, Mario. I can't hear you, Mario. Let me check in with my producer and see if we can get your mic working.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Oh, awesome. Okay, you are live. All right, Mario, take it away.
Well, I was saying I'm excited to be here for BeLive's 3rd birthday, and I couldn't be happier because I've been using BeLive ever since it was launching. I remember when it was in the beta, and I remember just how far it's come and how far it's grown, like we all have, and we all should be. And no matter what's going on, if you're having a good day, a bad day, an indifferent day, you have a message, and that's what I wanted to share with you. I'm excited for BeLive because I have, like they were saying, I've done over 3,000 different videos. I've been doing it professionally since 2005 with video productions, editing. I take my crew on shoots and different things, and it's just so much fun. And a lot of people said, I love your show. I love your show. And thank you, Susan. Susan's awesome. I'm just really thankful because I've always had a message inside of me, and the biggest change that came for me with using BeLive is what it helped me realize there's a whole world of people out there. And if you're watching this right now in the moment, let me know what's your biggest hang up, because maybe you're going, what about all this tech stuff? What about the microphone? What about the camera? How do you pull this off? I want to know what's really bothering you about it, because if you're watching this and you're not going live, why not? And if you are going live, what more can you do? And I will personally thank you, everyone that is leaving the comments. Sincerely thank you, because it means a lot, and I've been excited to share, and that's what I'm going to do. I wasn't ready for a show. So when people kept saying, I love your show, I love your show, it was just me sharing. And I want you to think about that, because there's a difference from I have a show to, you know what, you probably go live more than most people. I was going live 3 to 5 times a week. I mean, you don't do 3,000 videos by doing it, kicking it with a stick. But I just knew there was something more inside of me. And that's why I'm excited to talk about live stream video podcasting, because so many people want to start a podcast. So many people want to start a show, but I feel like they're getting lost. I mean, whether I know you or not, I can just tell by the questions that people ask me. Some people have a show, it's going well, and they go, well, how do you get that microphone? How do you do this? How do you have the confidence to come on camera despite something going wrong? And the answer is practice. I've been shaking the last 24 hours, to be totally honest with you, because I've been so excited to share. The very first one I wanted to share, I knew I had the value, and I don't know if I didn't submit something, or I don't know what the deal was, but I wasn't on the first one. And then the second one, I had just started my show last year, and I launched it with BeLive. I had a different microphone. I had a different mic flag. A lot of things were different in my life, personally and professionally. And I just wanted to share. And you work with what you have. If you're taking notes right now, which you should be, because there's going to be a lot of good stuff, not only now, but for the next little bit before the next guest comes up. But the first thing I will tell you is start where you are. Thank you for the compliments on the set. Thank you for the compliments on the audio. And I'm seeing comments. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I love that, all of them. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And Kenyon, your show is every Tuesday. That's fantastic. Oh wow, did that just come? Where did you get? See, there's all these great questions. Where did you get the studio? Where did you get the mic flag? Where did you get this? Where did you get that? And I want to pause for just a moment and go, what is your goal? Because we could have an hour-long conversation about where's the best place to get the shock mount. But we could also have an hour-long conversation about where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you want to be? Who's the type of person you have to become to be able to handle speaking in front of 10,000 people? Who do you want to help? How are you helping them? I want to take a minute and just think about that, because I have all kinds of equipment list. I have all kinds of stuff, even in my books. And you want to talk about the tech? We can talk about the tech, but I really want to focus on the vision and the strategy and who you're helping, because that's what it comes down to. You can Google the rest, honestly. And I'm happy to answer it. We will. I'll answer some questions. I'll have some time for Q&A, but let me know in the comments below, why did you start your show? Why did you even start broadcasting? Why did you start live streaming? Have you ever considered turning this into a podcast like I did? Because I had just been doing video all the time. It was like, I'll go live on the phone. I'll go, it's fun to be live. I would do it wherever because I wanted to share. But the question remained, why wasn't I doing a show? And I started using this going, and you can look. I have the videos to prove it. Someone said, I love your show. I love your show. And I was like, I don't have a show. And then one day I go, welcome to the Mario Ficini show. And I said it extremely sarcastically. And the next day I said it less sarcastically. And that was like Thursday, Friday. I had fun with family and friends on the weekend. And then Monday, I was like, welcome to the Mario Ficini show. We're going to be talking about such and such. And I just owned it. And I think within a week or two later, I started making the cool graphics and doing things like that. And that's when it hit me. I was like, holy smokes, I do have a show, because to you, the viewer, this is a show. Do the graphics matter? Do what I'm saying matters? But why do some people have a show and some people don't? Why do some people have a show but keep it right here? I'm not going to hold anything back, so I'm just going to flat out say there's a big world of video out there, and BeLive can help you get to all the corners of it. There's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn. You're going to be hearing from my friend Hanny, and he's going to be talking about how to repurpose the content. I love absolutely everything about his platform. And they're even including that. What are you doing on LinkedIn? What are you doing on Instagram? How are you really doing this? What is your vision for all of these things? Because like I said, we can talk for the next half hour on, what kind of microphone is this? If this is all you want to get out of it, it's a Heil PR40. It's a professional grade broadcast mic. That's probably why it's sounding the way it's sounding. And I'm excited about that because I did not start with it. And I'm telling you, you don't need to, but at some point, and whoever's doing the cool captions on this, why don't we queue up a cool bullet point of don't get stuck in startup mode. I'll let that sink in. There's a lot of good questions here. Thank you for all of these. Don't get stuck in startup mode. Because it's there we go. Look at that beauty, right? Yeah. it's very easy to get started. And you know what? Do whatever you have to get started. Make it the best you can. Be the best you can. But at the same time, know where you're going with it. Don't just stay there. I look back, you can look at my Facebook timeline. There's stuff from a year ago, and it's like memories from this day. And it's like over the last 365 days and over the next 700 and whatever that is, 730. Where do you want to be a year or two from now? What is all of this? So let me know. Let me know where you want to go with this. Larissa, wow. Do you have a question? Peter, LiveCon, yeah. Kenyon, thank you so much for all the comments. There is so much value you have to the world, and I'm going to put a twist on this because this all started after I lost my father, and it was a very, very tough time. And I had been doing business for years, 2 decades. I don't even know. I started my first company when I was 12, over 2 decades. And it sucked, plain and simple. And I thought, why am I still here? And I thought about everything I've done my entire life leading up until that moment. And I go, I still have a message inside of me and I want to inspire millions. And that's why I started the show. God gave me a vision, and that's what I've been executing and carrying out. And I can assure you, it's not the mic, it's not the flag, it's not the prism mount, it's not the PL. Can you even see it? PL2T Heil arm. I go, I'm going to inspire millions. How do I do this? I go, I got my books, I got my business, I got what's on my heart and my mind, and I'm going to live stream the heck out of it because I'm very comfortable on camera. It's what I grew up with. It's why I went into it. I absolutely love it. And that's what attracted me to BeLive. So I'm asking you, what are you doing with your show? What are you doing with your life? Where are you going to be in 10 years from now? I can send you an equipment list, and I have a whole free course on free video podcasting and free video podcast course. And I'm happy to share all of this. I love that. I love geeking out over it. You want to talk about the computer? 14 core makes things a little bit easier. All the specs are listed on there also. But who are you helping? Where do you want to go with this? Tell me about your show. I'm going to look for a comment here. I'm experiencing that startup mode situation, I believe, due to fear of being late, but also of running out of things to say. Do you have any recommendations for taking that next step? Larissa, what are you talking about as far as in your show? Thank you for the question, and I have a whole lot to say about it. What's your vision? What's your purpose for it? You're running out of things to say. Amputees making a, let's go with difference. It got cut off, but difference. There's a whole world of people. Are you talking? So more bullet points. We're talking about live stream video podcasting. And here's how you can not only have a live stream show. Here's how you can not only have a live stream show on Facebook, but you can, I'm encouraging you to bring it to the other platforms. Don't get caught up with, well, how do I live stream to every single platform on the planet right now? I will tell you, the more complexity you add to it, the more nightmarish it can get. I have been doing this professionally since 2005, and there's some days I go, would someone just ask me to interview me? Because all I have to do is show up for a podcast on the microphone. I don't need to worry about anything. How are you using this for real estate? Would love some pointers for the show. Angela, I'll make sure I cover that with real estate. There's a lot that goes into this. And when you start doing it seriously and regularly and consistently, there's a lot of leverage you can get, but there's more levels of complexity. And I see a lot of people, FYI, I am a moderator inside the group. So I see all the questions. Maybe I've already talked to you. A lot of you have great questions. I would encourage you, ask the higher level strategy stuff. There are some really great people in the group. I'm happy to know. A lot of them have been on the show. And one of them, I want to give my, I'm praying for you, Owen. I can't wait to see you in person. And I know you're already healed. Owen Video is a great guy. And he has a lot of value in there. And in my humble opinion, he shouldn't have to be going, here's the best webcam, here's the best this. You can be asking him high-level questions that only he can be answering. Same thing with Jeff Adams and about a dozen other people. And I always see the conversation going, what mic is that? Where's that mic flag from? I've never seen that. Don't worry about it. I'll give you all the answers. But what are you doing? How do you, the real estate question is great, Angela. How do you use this for real estate? I got a lot of clients and friends so for example, with a house, you could take a drone, okay? And this isn't live stream. Well, actually you could. If you were using a phone, you actually could live stream from the drone. But here's how you use it for an entire business, not just a subsect of it. You get your drone footage of the property. You also do a walkthrough. That can be live. Okay? The whole thing can be live, but you can think of how you can use the video as a whole. You can also have your own real estate radio show. You can have the podcast. You can have the live stream. You can put it on YouTube. You can put it in anywhere you want. But the question is, what are you saying with the messaging to attract the right people and the right clients? Are you going, I'm a real estate agent, I can help you real estate your house and sell it? Or are you saying, come with me, I'm going to tell you how I'm different from everyone else? And you don't need to be overly overt of it. All you have to do is demonstrate it. I tell my clients all the time when I'm taking them through my 8-week publishing course to get their books out. They go, how do I be seen as the expert and authority? The answer is you demonstrate it. All you have to do is, think about any situation in real life. I treat this as if I'm speaking to 10,000 people in real life. I get ready. I show up. I'm prepared. I put my shoes on. I brush my teeth. I make sure I have some water, because you don't want to be choking on stage and you don't want to be choking here. This is actually a bigger platform than a physical medium. But whether you're speaking to 1,000 people, 10,000 people, or one, are you showing you know what you're talking about by demonstrating it? Or are you just you're just there? Now, if you're starting out, I'll give you a 30 to 60, 90-day pass. But really, don't get stuck in startup mode. If we can cue that one again, don't get stuck in startup mode. I've been telling clients that for years. A lot of people, there we go. Thank you. This is cool. There's a lot of people that start off one way, and because they get comfortable with it, they stay comfortable with it. Again, start off with the vision, know where you're aiming to. Or is it this way? Because we're backwards. Start off with the vision, know where you're aiming to, and then work on the way. What you're looking at right now, I had planned out last year when I was about 5 steps behind. And it was on the forefront of everything in my mind. And I can walk you through it. I'll tell you every last detail. I have a spreadsheet with I can tell you the episode numbers, the megabytes, the transfer times. I have it all tracked from my first 100 episodes. All it took was a shift in me. And that's what I want to give to you, because there's a lot of great shows out there and a lot of great content. And I see people just straight up playing small with it. You can do a lot more. The fact that you're even here, I know you want to do more. So I'm going to go back to the Q&A. So Larissa, you're experiencing that with the amputees, and amputees making a difference. Topic-based or interview-based? There's Q&A and there's variety. If you're running out of content to say, get guests on the show. They have plenty of, all you need to do is give them a platform. You know how happy I was when I've done 3,000 videos plus, according to Facebook, which I didn't even know. I thought it was around 400. And then I went to dump the data just because I was looking for a video. And I was like, why is there only 400 or 420, 435? It kept rotating. And then I stopped one day and I go, oh my gosh, this is only the last 12 to 18 months. I go, holy smokes, what's it been for the last 10 years? And it was over 3,000, and that was like a year and a half ago. It's probably closer to 35 or 4 by now. But I had never done a show. Why is that? Because it was me. If you've gone on video 5 to 10 times, you're ready to do a show. But the question is, are you treating it like a show? Or are you still treating it like startup mode? So, Larissa, you're running out of things to say? Yes, I have a suggestion. Bring guests onto the show. Here's another one. If we can cue this up, bam. Ask the audience. Bring on some props. What's this? We're going to get going. Talk about stuff. It doesn't always need to be the latest, greatest news. You should have that in there. But I know some people that have great shows and they're all very time relevant. I would drive myself up a wall having that stress over my head. But that's me because I'm different. That's cool. It doesn't always need to be what happened in the news 6 hours ago that you have to report it 2 hours after the fact. How about where's the industry? Do a weekly where's the industry going over the next 2 years? Guess what? You got a 2-year buffer before it happens. And there are so many people moving forward 100 miles an hour. They never stop down to think. They never slow down to think. Where do you want to be in 2 years? You can apply that to any industry. I'm applying it to live video right now because that's what we're talking about. But who doesn't do goal setting in business? Have a quarterly review. I mean, treat it like a business. Chris, great question. Should you start your show as video or audio? That's up to you. I went all in. I'm also 10 times more comfortable on video than I was with audio. Now it's a treat because audio is very forgiving. There's a lot more to video. And if something gets messed up on here, you not only hear it, you also see it. There's about 40 things I look for before going live on my checklist. And there's like 3 with audio. What equipment do you recommend? Large Lake State Media. Great question. We host shows about peace in South Sudan. Excellent. We're here up over 400 people watch our live show. That's good. What equipment do you recommend? There's only 2. I'll say this. It depends. And there's only 2 webcams I'm recommending right now is the Logitech C922X and the Logitech Brio, which the 4K, which I'm on right now. Those are the only 2 I recommend. Don't even waste your time with the rest. The built-in cameras, I really don't want to make this about the tech, but when it's a built-in camera, you can't control how well it looks. You'll have the camera looking up, you'll have the camera looking down, sometimes it's sideways. And the second you tap the desk or touch the computer or do anything, because it's on a laptop or it's built into the device, it translates through the camera and everything's like a magnifying glass. 1/4 of an inch on here, it looks like craziness. They also have inferior light technology. So part of the reason this is crystal clear is because the Brio has Right Light 3 instead of Right Light 2, which is on the C922. And whatever you do, do not use the C920. It was the best at the time. Too many people got used to hearing it, and then they started repeating it. It's got really outdated light tech. It's not a bad camera, but the second someone's on it, I can tell because it's always overblown in the T-zone area, and you're not going to get even lighting. Larissa, you're welcome. Kenyon. All right, we got more great questions. My vision is to, here we go. Gospel Amegara. My vision is to reach 100,000 young adults in 10 years. Period. In 10 years' time, I have guided and injected hope of 100,000 young adults to go to university without getting a student loan. They have a behavioral change with money and have a different mindsets when it comes to money. That's fantastic. That's what I'm talking about. Now you can backfill in what type of mic should I get. You know where you're going with it. Should you start your show as video or audio? Okay, Chris, it depends. Video is way more fun. Just saying. Audio is way more forgiving and flexible. Audio is way more forgiving and flexible. Tell me a little bit more about you, Chris. What's your show? What's your background? So when I start my show off, I know going into it, I'm producing another episode. It goes through my team. Here's the purpose of it. We're going to make it on the show notes page. We're going to make it here. We're going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff. How do you want it to look? How do you want it to sound? When you're thinking about these things, you know where to go with it. I would say do it on video. Unless you have no experience with video, there's a huge learning curve and you don't have the additional time, energy, or money. It's going to take more work. It's at least 10 times more leverageable, though. I kept saying 6 to 8, and I've had some other friends who are doing shows, and they're saying they're getting 10x returns, 20x returns on it. It's also that much more work, though. So it depends. Let's see if we have any other great questions in here. If you ask me something in the first 10 minutes and I didn't answer it, please pop it back up again. To avoid problems with the broadcast, prepare with an exclamation point. Thank you again, Susan. Ronnie Frazier. Patricia, how are you? Yeah, I'll just say that there's a lot of good stuff in here. If you ask something and I didn't answer it yet, just repost it because I'm up to the count now. Should you start your show's video audio? Thank you. So what do you have to do to convert the show from a live stream only to a broadcast? And I want to ask you, are you taking your streams and putting them on YouTube as well? Are you putting them on LinkedIn? Are you putting them on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter? One of my favorite things right now is actually Twitter. I didn't start off with it. I didn't even really understand it for some time. But one of the things that is cool about Twitter is Periscope. You can put your video on Periscope. You can put it on Twitch. You can put it on YouTube. There's all these different places you can do stuff with it. And when you have the podcast, I can take any episode show link, put it on Twitter, and it will actually render a player inside of Twitter and also count for the downloads. Because you can take this video and by all means share it. If you want to take a snippet out of it, I'd say use Repurpose.io to do it. It's good. I even call my workflow, it's called 959 snippets because Instagram and LinkedIn have a 10-minute limit. So I chop them at 959. There's a lot you can do to subsect all of that. But again, that's something cool. And by all means do it. But let's talk about the business side of this. If you're looking to grow and profit, how are you doing that? How are you acquiring more clients? How are you growing your business? How are you getting more listeners, more viewers? Are you just constantly producing episodes? Or do you ever set time to go, what's my marketing strategy with this? There is a lot of things you can do, and I have tracked and analyzed that. And one of the things with Twitter is that you can actually put the player in the feed. It will render the actual player. You can listen from Twitter and it still counts. So you get the social proof. It's easy to do. You also get the download count. When you're in Libsyn, like I am, it shows you the downloads per episode. Again, when it's a podcast, it's going to Apple, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. There's 18 different destinations. And this isn't even including Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all those, because those are social. I'm talking podcast only directories. And then you have the video component of it, of how many video destinations can you get out to? And I'm telling you, there's over 30 as of right now. There are so many ways that you can repurpose all the content. But again, it starts with your vision. Where are you going with it? Should you do audio? Should you do video? Are we talking topic-based? Are we talking Q&A? Let me give you a minute. If you've never thought about doing an interview style show, who would you want to bring on? Who is someone you would just love to have a conversation with? All you have to do is reach out to them. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew where I was going. I knew the vision that I had. And I go, all right, I need guests. If I'm going to have an interview-based podcast, video live stream show, I need guests. Who are the first ones going to be? Write them down. I would encourage you to use something like Pipedrive like I'm using, actually. But all you need is a sheet of paper. All you really need is a sheet of paper. Sheet of paper and a pen. You write them down, and then you go, well, a common question I get is, what's the best way to reach out to them? Instagram DM, Twitter DM, Facebook message, text, email, phone call. There's a crazy one. If you start with people you know, and then you can actually call them, or maybe you have a connection to them somehow. There's different ways you can reach out to these people. Now, that's for the interview style. For the question from earlier, I'm running out of stuff to say. Well, this is why I always ask people, what's the focus, frequency, and format of your show? The focus, what are you talking about? What's the whole thing about? The frequency, is this daily? Is it 3 times a week, twice a week? Is it 5 days a week? Is it once a week, weekly? That's where most people start. It's going to be a lot less work. I would probably recommend it unless you told me your specific situation. I could maybe say 3 times a week. It's pretty cool. Daily, you're going to have an already established business. If you're doing this on video, a fair amount of money and a fair amount of time, and you're probably going to need a team within the first 30 to 60 days. So if that's you, by all means, go for it. It's a ton of fun. Angela wants to know, am I on a green screen? How do you get that background while live broadcasting? The answer is yes. And I would say carefully as a joking remark, but the real answer is practice. I have over 100 gigs of test footage, test equipment, test files. Oh, you want another secret? Let's bullet point this one. Create a green room. Well, how do you create a green room? When I have guests on my show, like I'm looking at myself over here, I have multiple monitors set up. I'm looking in this one. And if you could let me know, have I been doing a good job looking in the camera? Because there's actually a lot going on over here. I've been doing my best, but I hope it showed up because I've done this before. You don't want to be looking down. You don't want to be looking at the screen because now it doesn't look like I'm talking to you. If I'm looking over here, you're looking at the guest over this way. Over here, it looks like I'm ignoring you. Stare straight in the camera. You want to know how to have confidence on camera? Stare straight into it. What about the lights? It's so bright. Well, figure it out. I recommend using soft boxes. It's going to be bright, but so is modeling, so is acting, that's what it is. You will get used to it, but use soft boxes. I don't know why everyone started talking about the ring lights. Maybe because you can get them under $100, and one of them does look 10 times better than spotlights. But I would really encourage you to use 3-point lighting with soft boxes if you want it to look nice, professional. You can do whatever you want, but especially if you're doing a background, yes, this is a green screen, and I have 2 other lights lighting that are backlighting. I have done full day trainings on just lighting. We can get into that. It's another great thing to talk about, but the answer is, if we're going to make a giant bullet point, the answer is practice. You don't want to wait till the only time you're getting your camera time is when you have a guest waiting in the green room and things are not working. Okay, Angela asked, Chris, we are launching a show where we talk about up-and-coming country artists, news and interviews. Awesome. That is what we are trying to decide on, video or audio. I have done many audio interviews and have done a few video, but we are just launching our show formally. Here's what I'd say, Chris. Since you're experienced with it, I would say go for it, but don't overdo it. You don't need a daily show on video. Maybe start weekly. And here's the thing. I film Tuesdays and Wednesdays. When guests apply to be on my show and they come into the booking forms, there's 2 days available, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can pick whatever times of it left, whatever works for you. But I'm not killing myself to do it. You want to be strategic. So this is where the business side comes back in. If you're doing a weekly show, 4 weeks a month, let's say 6 months of content, 28 episodes. The month before I launched, I shot 21. Now, granted, it's a daily show. I need a lot of content. But I thought about that. I go, man, if I was doing a weekly show, I just cranked out 6 months of content, 5 months of content in 3.5 weeks. The cool thing about the podcast is you can film the heck right now. If you look at my pages, there's always a live stream going on. But how I release them is completely different. The other thing is, this you're going to love this. I stopped. The live stream for me is now a bonus. And I love using BeLive to do the Q&A and different things. And it's fun to interact like we are now. But I was driving myself batty filming a promo file to promote the live. And even if nothing goes wrong and you have people that are completely comfortable on camera, Facebook has a 10-minute window where if you're not live in 10 minutes, you're not going to be live and you have to redo the links, redo everything. And it's a nightmare. And I thought about it and I go, who runs my show? Here's another good bullet point, or a lower third point, I should say. Do you run your business or does your business run you? Do you lead your clients or do your clients lead you? Do you produce your episodes or do your episodes produce you? Everything, the first 3 episodes, I go, I need a different camera. I need a different setup. I need different lights. I need to redo the schedule. There was this whole laundry list before I even got to episode 10 that I was like, okay, if I'm going to survive this to 1,000 episodes, there's like 90% of this workflow needs to change. And one of them was the live stream as a bonus. I have the show engineered now. If Facebook wants to be stupid, Facebook can be stupid. If YouTube wants to be stupid, so be it. All you need is good footage. Oh, shoot. Right. All you need is the good footage. Okay? You can do that at any point in time. And with BeLive's new feature to record not live, love that. With the new feature of separating the audio, love that. There's all these things that can work in your favor. And when you understand why and where you're putting them, you start going, oh, I see where all the power is coming from. By all means, go live, but maybe don't plan it for Thursday at 7:00 and have the final destination only be Facebook. There's a whole world out there. That's what I started this with. How many places can you be? Where can you do this? And understand, here's the live stream play. Here's the recorded play. Here's the re-recorded play. Here's the replay play. There's different strategies for all of them. And I see too many people trying to fit everything into a little box of, I don't know what, because everyone has their own version of that box. But don't base your show off of Facebook only. Create your show. Sit down with your partner, your significant other, even if it's just you. Where do you want to be in 2 to 5 years? What's the show look like? Map it out and then see how much you can make fit, and then the rest figure out. And that's what I did. Susan, I appreciate the compliment. On the set, broadcasting from a TV studio. I am. EA Studios. Notice the thing in the background? EA TV, wherever that's at. Here it is. Well, if you're, let me see the second part. Well, if you're new messages below. Cool. Okay, so I want to open up for more Q&A, and I will tell you about the green room that we left off on before we went to Q&A. Create the green room. It costs nothing to make a Facebook group. Name it the green room. That's about it. This is the complexity of it. Go on there, and by the time this is done in the next 7 minutes, you could create the stupid green room in the next 60 seconds. Go to Facebook groups, click create group, name it green room practice run, Merry Christmas, whatever you want to call it. And now you can broadcast to that. It can be you and one other person. I think you do need someone else in the group. Just tag someone to add them in so you can create it. And then you can always just delete them out. maybe a good friend of yours be like, see ya. But the reality is you don't want to be testing on your live public page. Do 20, 30 different tests. When you're comfortable and everything's set up, then go live and say, you know what, this is a test, but this is very, maybe don't even tell people it's a test. You need to understand how this works with your specific machine. A lot of people go, why isn't the Wi-Fi working? Why? Here's another tip. Stop doing it over Wi-Fi. Unless you're out and about on your cell phone, even then you should be using a 4G data plan or 5G or whatever. I really don't like Wi-Fi because I've run extensive tests even when, the Wi-Fi speed says this. So what? You got a gigabyte connection on Wi-Fi. Great. It's still Wi-Fi. Hardwired is still, I believe, is still more reliable. I've had zero issues being hardwired in, and I've ran into maybe 50-50, 60-40 on Wi-Fi and along with the guest. If someone wants to come on my show from their phone, guess what? They're not. If they want to have a crap mic and not be prepared, guess what? They're not. Don't be afraid to set a standard of excellence. Anyone can roll out of bed and turn on the camera. And a lot of people look like that. But if you want to use this to profit and run a business and attract more business, maybe let's go back to what I said a half hour ago. Don't get stuck in startup mode. Kenya nailed it. Yeah, don't use Wi-Fi, especially if using multiple streams. So that's another variable, and I could go through the whole list. The more constants you can put in your studio and your life, the better. If you're using Wi-Fi one day, hardwired another, you're filming from home in one, your office the other, in the car, on the go, there's too many variables. Be able to predict what's going to happen. Because even when you know what's going to happen, there's still unpredictable things that will happen. It could come down to a Chrome browser update, or there's a new software that Windows or Mac rolled out, or Facebook changed its yet again whatever rule. You have to be prepared and have a 10% buffer ready to produce your show. You need to know where you're going with it. You need to practice the heck out of it and be prepared, but there's always going to be a 5-10%. It seems like every other week there's something changing on the internet. Every day almost. Did you budget in to go through your weekly, all right, what needs to be sent off, what needs to get done? There we go again. Don't get stuck in startup mode. But every Friday I go, okay, we're going to do a weekly recap. What episodes are done being produced? Which ones still need to get produced? Where are we at? I'm always thinking, where's the count? I may have filmed 21 this week. I may have filmed 3. Where's the episode in real life that the rest of the world is watching? Because this is the behind the scenes, and then there's the public. And those might be 2 different frequencies. And you don't want to run behind one or be ahead on the, you do want to be ahead on both of them, actually. But the reality is if you're filming 3 a week and producing 5, that could be problematic if you can't sustain it. Likewise, if you're filming 5 and producing 3, you're going to start building up this buffer. And you have to go, well, do I want to be 2-3 months out? I'd say yes, because you want to get as many in the can as you can. You can always change stuff later. But remember, one is what the public sees and one is your own production. You figure out your own production and then get ahead. It's not fun to need 3 episodes by this Friday and only have room to shoot 2. It's real fun when there's 31 that are unreleased and you're pretty much good till next February. And you got more people applying and coming on the show pretty much daily and weekly. It gives you time to do cool stuff like this. So budget extra time. What resolution are you streaming at? Your video's getting grainy from when you first started. That's interesting. The resolution I'm filming at should be HD 1080. It's a 4K camera, and it should be 1080. It shouldn't be getting grainy. I'm on about a 500 meg down and a 25 meg up pipeline for the internet connection, and it is hardwired in. It's a 14 core processor, a massive video card, and 64 gigs of 3600 RAM. And I just designed and built the thing a few months ago. For live streaming specifically. So any last questions? Get them in now. We got a couple of minutes, and I hope you got a lot out of that. It's been my pleasure.
That was fantastic, Mario. Thank you so much. And I have to say, I'm super impressed with your tie.
Well, thank you. Had to match the mic flag, right?
It had to. It had to. I think you look absolutely fantastic, and I loved all of those bits of information that you dropped. And I appreciate you coming here today. I know everybody learned a ton. Thank you again for being so kind in answering everybody's specific questions as well. That was very, very helpful. Where can we find you?
eainterviews.com.
eainterviews.com. Wonderful. Thank you again, Mario. Thanks for joining us. And we are going to introduce our next guest. And her name is KM Robinson. KM is a social media marketing strategist. And she is also a best-selling author. I'm going to move her up into our broadcast right now. Please, everyone, welcome KM. She also has been spotlighted by a lot of different major social media platforms for her innovative work in social media management. I am going to turn the floor over to you, KM.
As was said, I am a social media marketing strategist. I actually educate entrepreneurs on how to create profitable businesses through smart social media marketing. I'm also a best-selling fiction author. And today we're going to be talking all about how authors can be leveraging live streaming to beat the algorithms. I brought some awesome friends with us. I'm really excited to be hanging out today. So let me bring them in as we jump into our panel discussion all about how authors and any entrepreneurs can be implementing live streaming into their social media marketing strategy. So I am going to be hanging out with the fabulous Elle Beaumont and Amber Ardul, who happen to be my co-hosts on my bookish talk show, Young Adult Edition. We're also going to be hanging out with the fabulous Melanie Gilbert, and we will be hanging out with Dana Frederick today as well. So Elle, I'm excited to see you. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Elle Beaumont, author of Baron Weaver's Game of Bazik. And I write young adult and new adult stories. And this particular book is about a steampunk circus that follows a fae who's down on his luck.
And Amber, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Amber Ardul. I wrote Dreamkeeper. I'm an author of YA fantasy and dark fantasy. Dreamkeeper is about the Sandman. It's kind of got a Nightmare on Elm Street vibe to it.
Which is so fun. If you guys follow us on social media, you will see that we all like our retellings. We very much like twisting up fairy tales, but we also go into sci-fi and fantasy and all sorts of fun, fabulous things as well. We are going to be joined by Melanie Gilbert and Dana Frederick, who also write retellings, steampunk, all sorts of fabulous things. And today we're going to be breaking down how authors and all entrepreneurs can be live broadcasting to beat the algorithm system. So real quick, let's talk a little bit about those algorithms. With Facebook and Instagram and the social media platforms, we know that they value video really, really high because more people consume video than text posts, which they can just scroll by, photos, which they can, again, just scroll by. Video is really great because it usually takes people about 3 seconds to dive in and decide if it's for them or not. But live video actually gets people to watch for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, even longer to decide if it's going to be right for you. And so with live video, they actually rank that higher in the algorithm standing, which means anytime you are live broadcasting, that's helping your algorithm standing, which is what kicks your content out to show people organically so we don't have to pay for as many ads. Pretty cool, right? So as authors, we actually implement this into our marketing strategy, and we're going to jump in and chat about that today. So ladies, you are actually my co-hosts on Young Adult Edition. We do a live bookish talk show every Monday morning. So if you guys actually joined us this morning, we hung out with a fabulous author named Elise Kova. We talked about building epic fantasy worlds. Ladies, what has your experience been with live broadcasting?
Amber, you can go first.
No, it's been amazing. It's a great way to connect with people and really talk to them, you know, as if you're sitting, you know, person to person, you know, anywhere in the world. So
I will agree with that. It's definitely a way to connect with your readers and potential readers. It shows them that you're actually a person and you will communicate with them because, you know, you can go down to their level and talk to them on a live. And what is better than actually talking one-on-one with one of your favorite authors?
Which I absolutely love. I know I like to sit in on live broadcasts whenever you ladies go live. I love jumping in and learning a little bit more about your books, behind the scenes. I love asking questions while you're live on air, even though I could just send you a direct message or a text message. It's so much fun to do it in a live setting because you get that real-time interaction. And I know for me and for you as well, our fans are really, really enthusiastic when we jump on a live broadcast because they get that real-time interaction. So let's dive in and let's chat a little bit about some of the fun ways that we can be using live broadcasting as authors. One of my all-time favorite ways, I'm going to say that about every single one of these, but one of the most recognizable ways that we can be using those live broadcasts is actually by doing our book announcements. So ladies, have you ever used live broadcasting to announce an upcoming book or something that you're dropping related to your books?
Oh, definitely. I enjoy doing surprise releases. And the way that I like to do that is to have a scheduled broadcast, but it's something that, I'm dropping the surprise that you guys might really enjoy. And surprise, it's a book release. And they get to see the cover because I didn't do a cover reveal. It's something that they're seeing for the first time. I can do a live reading, like a little excerpt that gets them hooked onto that and whether or not they want to hurry up and grab that book. And just to see their reactions again in the comments and being able to react with that right then, it's something I absolutely love doing.
Amber, how about you?
yeah, I love dropping surprises, and you get a more organic reaction, I feel like, because it's that immediate, like, oh my God, I'm so excited, as opposed to, okay, let me compose myself and write this email or something like that.
That's an interesting point because when you are on a live broadcast, that actually gets people to interact with you in real time, as opposed to, oh, I'll comment on that post later, or, oh, I'll email them later, which they may or may not do. So with live broadcasting, that's really great because it gives us that immediate interaction as we are going through whatever surprise we happen to be dropping that day. And hey, if you're joining us live, we would love to get your questions answered. Go ahead and drop those down into the comments below. And if you are an author joining us, give us all the love and we'll give you a shout out while we are here hanging out on today's part of LiveCon 2019, which we're so excited about. And I see lots of fabulous comments coming in, so leave all the love for us, guys. Now, book announcements are really important, especially for authors, but this actually works for all entrepreneurs as well, because if you have an announcement for your business, this is a great way to share it. And like Elle does in her business, she actually likes to do it as kind of a surprise. So some people will say, I have this announcement, I'm going to tell you more details, but she actually full out surprises them and says, come see what's going on, and then surprises them with a book announcement or with some other fun thing that her fans are going to love. If you do that in your business, we would love to hear from you. Jump into the comments and let us know. Now, one of the big things that the three of us actually do is interview other authors. So with our live broadcast talk show, Young Adult Edition, we actually have authors on every single week at a specified time, and we talk to them about their books or about bookish topics. And so having those author interviews is a really cool way to introduce our fans to other authors that our fans might like while they're waiting for our next book to come out. So ladies, do you have any fun stories about those interviews?
I actually have one. I was actually surprised for my birthday last year by one of my favorite authors. And Cam did surprise me with that. And I actually got to interview my hero in the bookish world. And it was so fun having my fans watch me fangirl over somebody I idolize, you know? And that to me was like the coolest thing, because it allowed for me to meet one of my idols, like my writing idol. And it was just so cool. I could meet her without actually having to drive like hundreds of miles to go to a con. I could see her and talk to her. It was just so amazing.
It was a lot of fun. Amber and I definitely went behind her back to do that, which was a lot of fun. If you guys do want people that you're working with, or you want to surprise fans, live broadcasting is a great way to do it. Amber, how about you? Tell us about your experience interviewing other people or being interviewed, and then we're going to swap out. We're going to bring Melanie Gilbert on. We're going to bring Dana Frederick on, and then we'll bring you two back in just a little bit. So Amber, tell us about your experience.
I think my favorite one was when I got to interview my critique partner, because I had read her manuscript so many times, and then, it got a publishing deal and it came out, and it was so much fun to talk to her about, all of that, starting from before the book was a book until after.
It's a lot of fun with interviews because you get to actually ask questions maybe you hadn't thought of before, or maybe you didn't necessarily feel like that was something you could go and ask them, or it's just something that didn't come up in conversation. But when you're doing it to educate other people or entertain other people, I feel like you get a lot of really great questions you might not have otherwise thought of, right? That's awesome. All right. We are going to bring on Melanie Gilbert, and we are going to bring on Dana Frederick in just a moment. We're going to be talking all about how you can implement interviews into what you are doing with your live broadcasting strategy. Melanie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to see you. Introduce yourself.
I am Melanie Gilbert, author of Midnight, a Cinderella retelling, which is the first book in a new fairy tale retelling series.
And I'm so excited because this is actually our first time face-to-face on camera. So we have hung out in person, but this is our first time on camera. So we might have to turn this around and interview Melanie while we're live. Dana, I'm excited that you're joining us as well. You are a frequent guest on Young Adult Edition. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dana Frederick, and I am a young adult steampunk fantasy author. And Out of the Shadows is kind of my flagship book, baby. In Out of the Shadows, Lenore is a thief, so she's on the run from the law, and she thinks she finds safety by joining a wealthy but eccentric family, only to realize that they're hiding some really big secrets, as everyone is in this series. And, of course, someone who knows her real identity is chasing after her.
Fantastic. All right. So you've actually been on Young Adult Edition, my talk show, a couple of times now. Tell me a little bit about your experience as someone who has been interviewed on a live broadcast. So not only can we interview other people, but we can be interviewed too.
Right. Honestly, my experience anyway has been very it's such a friendly, casual environment that I feel like I'm having coffee with friends, especially when I do actually have coffee next to me while we're doing the interview.
Yes.
So yeah, it's nice. And not just with you guys though, but also with the audience. They're commenting, they're interacting. So we're all basically hanging out from different locations together. And, that interaction is so much fun because like you guys were saying, they get to ask questions. They get to have that real time experience. And it's so good.
Which I love. And Melanie is someone who hangs out at my show a lot. She actually has not been on my show yet. So Mel, can you tell me your experience as an audience member? Why do you like these interviews so much?
Like I said, I love to be able to interact in live time. Like if I have a question, I can type it out and it gets answered. And I feel like, we're having a conversation. You might not see me, but you can address me as Melanie. And you can answer, the questions that I have, and I can get to know you guys a little bit better.
which I really love, especially with BeLive, because it allows me to pull up those comments and I can actually see your face. So even though you're in the audience and I can't see your expressions and how you're reacting to things, I do get that personalized picture of you, and I get to toss that up on screen so everybody kind of gets to see you. So it brings us all a little more together, a little bit closer as we're doing this, and it makes it a little more personal. Would you agree?
Right, definitely.
It's a lot of fun. So with live broadcasting, not only can you interview other people and introduce your fans to other people within your industry, whether it is as an author or some other industry, but you can also do interviews where you go on other people's shows, which introduces you to their fan base as well. But there's kind of some fun ways that you can also be interviewing and kind of doing things on your live broadcast. So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. This is one of my favorite ways. I told you I was going to say this for everything. This is one of my favorite things to do as an author when I am live broadcasting. And this may not necessarily be for all industries, but you can kind of twist this and implement this into how you're doing it as well. I love to do character introductions on my live broadcast. So I actually bring up a live broadcast, I'll go live, and I'll introduce my fans to my characters. Sometimes there's artwork involved, sometimes not. And I kind of treat it like an interview where I'm showing off what my characters are like, what they're doing, and how my fans can interact with them. Ladies, have you ever tried doing character introductions before?
I have on my blog before. I've never done it via live video, but it does sound really, really fun. But yeah, I have done character interviews on my blog. Where, you basically sit down with that character and you ask them questions, and you get so much of their personality that way because it is just one-on-one, and you also get to control the circumstances.
When I do that, my characters yell at me a lot. I'm just going to say.
Fair. Yeah, mine got a little mouthy with me, so.
Right? I feel like as the authors, our characters have a lot to say. If you guys are not authors, you probably don't know, but our characters like to fight back. They like to tell us how things go, and they like to dictate the way that we do things. So they're very, very pushy in most cases, which makes interviewing them rather interesting. But it also makes for a really interesting way to do a live broadcast as you're introducing those characters. Mel, have you ever had the opportunity to kind of introduce your characters through a live broadcast?
I have a little bit. I actually have been interviewed by a blogger twice now, and so I've gotten to introduce my characters through that interview, and which was very fun. I got to introduce the book and stuff, and especially with the Cinderella retelling, there's a villain in there who is everybody's favorite villain to love to hate, and so it was nice to be able to introduce her to the crowd and stuff and get their responses to her personality.
I love that we have so many options with live broadcasting and that we can introduce them to our characters and to our books. And for those of you who are not authors, this is also a really great opportunity to introduce people within your business, people within your company. You can introduce your products if you want. There's lots of really cool ways to do this and kind of make it more of a fun thing rather than just look at my product, but here's some really cool things about them, facts behind the scenes, all sorts of fun, fabulous things. And guys, if you're joining us live, do not forget, BeLive is doing a really cool giveaway. You want to make sure you're reading along the bottom of the screen because they're giving you all the details on how you can win. Make sure you stay tuned. Big things are happening throughout today and the next couple of days in LiveCon 2019. So I want to switch gears just a little bit, ladies, and I want to chat about some behind the scenes. So I know for me as an author and as an entrepreneur, I love doing behind the scenes within my business, within what I'm doing with my books or whatever it happens to be if it's one of my other industries. So have you guys used live broadcasting to show behind the scenes, and what specifically have you done, Dana?
Well, I personally have never used live broadcasting, but a good friend of mine who is a creator, her name is Vicky Lee, and she runs a webcomic called D&Doggos. And for her Patreon subscribers, just the $1 subscribers, she does a live stream every Friday where they can sit there and we can all watch. We get on Twitch and she sketches, and we see her process for creating characters, for creating a comic. And you really do see it from like infancy, blank page, to when it's like kind of, that rough draft, so to speak. I was actually just speaking with her today, and she thinks of first drafts, like her sketches. That's her rough draft, basically. And so that's a really good way, if you are any kind of visual creator, that you can use live streaming as, if you have some kind of support system or something like that, you can have those special subscribers get those bonuses. And yeah, people love to see kind of, so to speak, how the sausage is made. And it's a great experience. And we all come together in community. We can chat in the Twitch chat. It's great.
That's amazing. And I kind of love the behind the scenes process where you see things start to finish and you get to go through that. But I really like that she uses it as a bonus. I know for me, I tend to do everything for all of my fans, but I love having those special behind the scenes, exclusive, members only type live broadcasts within your business as well. So if you're joining us live and you have some type of exclusive live broadcasting content, we want to hear from you. Let us know what you're doing inside of your business and how you're implementing this into your social media marketing strategy, so we can give you a shout out while we're on air. Whether you're an author or a different type of entrepreneur, we want to know what you are working on in your business. Mel, how about you? What live streaming behind the scenes have you done?
Well, there was a time when I was really getting behind on the author page and group and stuff. And I really just wanted to give my fans an update on what was going on. And I just moved into a new office in my house. And so I gave them a tour of, this is the place I am now working in. Isn't it great? And to be able to just have a few minutes where we could catch up. They could see, hey, this is where Melanie's at now. Get a couple, update on where all the books are at and stuff. It was, it's just great to be able to just pop on and be like, hey, surprise, here I am, and this is what I'm doing. This isn't formal, but we're gonna hang out for a few minutes.
I kind of love those informal moments too, when you just hop on and have a conversation with your people. And that actually brings us to our next question. As authors, how has live streaming impacted our book promotion? So let's dive in. Let's chat about how it's actually impacted our promotional efforts. And then we're going to bring Elle and Amber back on and swap out. And then Mel and Dana will be joining us again in another few minutes. So Dana, how has this worked in your author life?
So I definitely see a lot more content from my fellow authors who do live streaming. Another author friend of mine, Beverly Lee, she writes kind of atmospheric horror and gothic. She does live readings, I think it's every Sunday, on her Instagram of her reading passages from her book. And she gets her inflections. She knows those characters better than anybody else. So you get that experience of the author communicating all of that atmosphere and that personality and everything. And she's amazing. She's amazingly talented. And, you see the interaction from people when she posts those videos of her reading. It's a lot higher than just a static image or text or what have you.
Fantastic. Melanie, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely, what Dana said, the interaction is a lot more. People pop on and then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so nice. I didn't know this person was looking at my stuff, but, they pop on and, they comment and things and they stick around, and it's just great to see a variety of people who pop on and comment and make you feel so loved.
That really is the great thing about live streaming. If you want to be loved, if you want to feel you have that connection to your fans, live streaming is the way to do it, because it's a great way to connect with people. Melanie and Dana will be back with us in just a few minutes as we continue our conversation all about live streaming in the author world and how we can use it to beat the algorithms. We're going to be bringing back up Elle and Amber momentarily, but I want to dive in and take a look at how live streaming has impacted my book promotions personally. So here's the deal. With me, I'm very, very social, and I'm very, very engaged and involved with what I'm doing online. And I've seen a drastic and dramatic difference when I am live broadcasting, because if I'm not, people don't really necessarily have a way to connect with me. Now, as I'm live streaming, and I do this multiple times a week, every single week, I am then creating content which I can send out in my newsletter. I can add to my website. I can put on my blog. And that really increases what I'm doing and where people are going. So when I send out that newsletter, instead of just asking people to buy my book or telling them a little bit about my book, it actually gets them to click over to watch my videos and then to interact with me. So for me, live streaming has promoted my books in ways that I couldn't even imagine. When I started, live streaming was not the biggest thing. And so I was one of the few people doing it. And now I see more and more authors interacting with people. They're jumping onto these live streams. We have Facebook Live, we've got Instagram Live, we've got YouTube Live. There's all sorts of ways that we can be live and interacting with people. And because more and more people are jumping on it, that trains more and more people to come watch. And then they're getting that really great, valuable information. And because I have a live broadcast talk show, and because I'm doing interviews with authors, and I'm bringing on celebrities, and I'm doing all sorts of fun things, people are then introduced to other authors, but those authors are bringing in people who are now seeing my book, my content, my things that I am doing, which then bumps up my sales. So interacting with people online is so incredibly helpful, but live streaming with other people in the audience makes it so much easier and so much better for us to actually interact with them. And it really increases sales. Honestly, it does. It's the best advertising that I could get, because everything else is kind of on the old school side. People have been there, done that, seen that, but live streaming is all unique. It's all different. It's all personal, and it really impacts my book sales. All right. So we're hanging out with Melanie Gilbert and Dana Frederick. We will be bringing on our other co-hosts in just a little bit, but we are kind of talking about some of the behind-the-scenes things that we do as authors to promote our books on live streams. There's one thing I did want to chat before we move on, and I know this is one of Melanie's favorite things that I do. I actually design book covers, and I do this live on air. So once a week, I jump on a live broadcast, and from start to finish, I actually create a book cover live on air, and I have people who are able to join me and then give me input. So they get to help me choose fake titles. They get to help me choose the images I'm going to be using, and they get to interact and help make those choices in the covers that I'm making on air. Melanie, tell me a little bit about your experience watching that.
Oh my gosh, it's like amazing. I've tried so many times to learn Photoshop and things, and it's so nice to be able to watch somebody do what I want to do and be able to learn the words that go with it, and also be able to buy the cover, while you're online.
My favorite part. I love that.
And, just be able to have feel like you are a part of the process. You get to help pick out, the book title before the author gets it, you get to see this come to life, and it's amazing from start to finish what that's like. Like, you go from stock images to a finished cover, and you're like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. And anyway, it is really fun to watch.
It is. It's so much fun. Speaking of fun things to watch, we actually have done some interesting things with live streaming as authors that's a little less scripted, a little more as we are live on location. So one of the things that I love to do in my author life is to live stream from events. And so we were actually all just at PendCon 2019 a few weeks ago, which is held in St. Louis. It's a great big giant author event. And we jumped online and we did some live broadcasting while we were there. We showed up the tables. We did some interviews. There was all sorts of fun behind the scenes things that we did from events. So Dana, how would you implement this into your life as an author, as someone who actually goes to all of these conventions?
Yes, I do a lot of live events. And so I think basically what you said is a really great idea. Even just, kind of wandering around, because, at these events, we network, we make friends, we, get to know each other, because you see a lot of the same people at different events, specifically because I do steampunk. And that's like my big thing. I do a lot of steampunk centric events. And so I have a lot of friends in the steampunk community who make other things. I have leatherworking friends. I have friends who, they make fascinators and cool things like that, like this side right here. So, wandering around, showing people what's at this interesting, cool event, what other things that are on offer. I mean, I love books, don't get me wrong. Love to see all the other authors and other books. But it can be interesting to mix it up. So when you're at a book event, they get to see books. And when you're at like a non-book event, they can see all the other cool things that are there at that event. And everybody wins. There's a phrase that a friend of mine says that I really love. And it's a rising tide lifts all boats. So when you cross-pollinate like this, it helps the people who create the events, it helps the other creators, it helps you. It really is beneficial for everyone.
On that very specific note, I do a lot of people who are not in the book industry, but related to whatever my books are. And so I've actually done interviews with professional mermaids because I have a mermaid book series. And because I went to a Renaissance fair and interviewed professional mermaids in a tank on my show, just for fun, because I had a mermaid book, I became friends with these mermaids. And now 2 years in a row, I've been their featured author and one of their key speakers at a great big giant mermaid convention in Washington, D.C. By the way, come visit us at mermagicon.com this February. It's going to be lots of fun. And it was totally unrelated to the book world, but adjacent to my books, which is really cool. And I've also had the opportunity to do a chocolate factory tour, which gave my fans the ability to see behind the scenes of everybody's favorite treat without ever setting foot inside of an actual chocolate factory, simply because it was somewhat connected to a Hansel and Gretel retelling book that I wrote, because candy and candy factories, of course. And so being able to work with people outside of the industry is really important as well. Melanie, any thoughts on this one?
I went to PennCon as a reader this year, and so it was nice to be able to have like that experience and be able to like kind of switch things up, like, hey, I am on the reader side this time, and let's focus on authors that are here.
Which I loved. I loved having you walk around and kind of show everything off. That was a lot of fun. And it's fun to be able to show the flip side of that as well, I think. All right. We will be saying goodbye to Melanie and Dana for just a couple of minutes. We're going to bring Elle and Amber on so we can jump on and ask some questions for them, as well as we're talking all about how authors can be implementing live broadcasting into their marketing strategy. Ladies, let's talk about behind the scenes of some of the live events that we have done. So Elle, for you, how have you used live broadcasting on location?
So I am an entrepreneur on top of my book career here. So I actually use it for my candle side business. And I always broadcast where I'm going to be, what fragrances I have with me, and who else is attending, and just showing just the setup of the area. It's really important. And honestly, I have drawn in a lot more attendees for me that follow me and draw them into there. And they end up finding like a brand new vendor that they've fallen in love with. And they're like, oh my gosh, come visit. My aunt usually shares my lives. But she'll be like, come see my niece. She's at this event. And she'll usually send a whole bunch of people my way. And those people share it. And it's just like this huge spider web effect. And it just goes out and out. But I usually use that broadcasting at events at my locations for my vending events. And it's really important for the venue. As the other girls were saying, it's really good for the venue because it shows that there's activity there. It shows the masses that attend there. And it shows that there's like a need for this event. And also you, like you're also, promoting yourself too. But it's essential for me. I use it every time I'm at an event, and will also use it when I do author events too.
And I think it's really important what you just said about kind of showing off the venue and the other people who are there. It shows that there's activity going on, that people are involved and interacting. But it's nice because not only are you showing off them, but then they turn around and tend to show you off as well. So if you are at an event and you're filming the venue and you're showing off other people within your videos, afterwards, they are very likely to jump on and share that live footage, which gives you even further reach. Susan's in the comments saying, I agree with all three of you. I also love doing Facebook Lives at live events and sharing with the audience the excitement. Yes, yes, yes. It is so much fun. Amber and I were just at PennCon 2019 together, and we definitely did some live streaming, which was pretty fun because we actually got to talk to people who were live at the event, but maybe in the other ballroom, or maybe they were still coming up, or maybe they were joining us the second day of the event, and they got to get kind of a preview of what was happening and find out where they should be, where all the fun was happening inside of the event. Amber, tell us about your experience live streaming at events.
I think it's like what Elle said, it's great for like the venue as a whole. It makes it look more, desirable. Like you have that feeling of missing out if you're not there, I guess. So, it draws more people to want to go, and seeing behind the scenes kind of feels special, I think, to people. You get to see like behind the curtain a little bit, and your personality and everything. So it makes them want to come and find you and talk to you as a person at a fun event.
I agree with that. I know for me, last year when I was speaking at the mermaid convention, Mermagicon, I actually live streamed the mermaid ball. Yes, guys, there was a mermaid gala. And all of my fans were so jealous. And I know some of them have actually purchased tickets so that they could attend this year because they missed out last year, but they got to see how much fun it was. And so I know that that's really good for future promotion of events as well. All right. So let's change gears just a little bit because there is so much we can be talking about when it comes to live streaming and author lives. I want to talk a little bit about live readings. This is something we've all done. We've all jumped onto a live broadcast, picked up a copy of our books and read the blurb on the back, or read the first chapter, or just read a lot of our books on live broadcasts. So Elle, tell us some of your favorite tips for getting ready to read your book on camera, because I know that can be a very challenging and daunting thing, especially if you're reading a little bit more than just a paragraph or two. So what tips do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of reading on broadcast. I do it, but I'm not a fan of it because I stumble over my words so easily. And even though I've written this book, I will still stumble over all the lines. So first, take a deep breath. Have your book ready to go by you. But figure out what you want to do. Figure out, do you want to give them a tour? Because that's something else that you can do. You can show them the cover art. Like, even if they've seen the cover in a cover reveal, you can show them, look at the designing on here. You can really give them a tour and an inside look at the back wording and, oh, look at the, the title page. And you can really, you can pull them up. Oh, my scene dividers. Let me pull up my chapter headers. Here are my chapter headers. Let's show you before I get into reading. And here is what my scene divider looks like. You guys can't see it that well, but it's a playing card. Then you can read the back to give them a preview of what that is. And you decide if you want to read a full chapter. If you have a harder time reading, like I do, I can read, just not out loud. I was never good at my poise score. But you can give them a sneak preview. You can read 1 to 2 pages, and that's fine. Some authors will read that first chapter, or even go up to 2 chapters if they want to have like a sit-in and read that. So that's something that you can really do. Make it an experience. They can't be there with you at a book signing or something. You can make it inclusive and look at all this detail. Really take a moment and look at that. Look at the back here, because maybe they haven't picked up this book yet, and seeing the back, or just looking at the inside art, or just giving them a tour of it and making it an inclusive experience because they can't physically be there with you. I think that's what a live reading is really all about.
Amber, how about you? Tips for live reading?
I too stumble over all the words. So my tip would be to practice reading it before you go live, so you can kind of get your mouth used to saying all the words that you wrote that you can't remember. And and I would say to pick something that's going to really be engaging and, hook the readers. You have to assume that they have no idea, any of the characters, what's going on. So don't pick something at the end of the book that's, 1, going to be a spoiler, and 2, that's going to make no sense to them. Because you want to hook them and get them interested in going to find out more about the book, maybe buying the book. So, yeah.
And I found personally that live readings are a great way to actually get people to buy our books. Maybe they've read the back, maybe they've seen the cover, maybe they have no clue, but when they hear a little bit of the story and they're kind of introduced to the characters and they're hearing our words in our own voices, that typically entices a lot of people to actually go and look at the book, which then entices them to buy the book. So I know for me in my business and in my brand, live readings really help me. And I love then taking that footage from my live reading and popping it over onto my website on my world portals where my fans can jump in and learn more about the story, see behind the scenes, artwork, all that fun stuff. And so doing a live reading is really, really great because I do it in a way that's interactive with them. I see their comments. I can see that they're engaged with what I'm doing. And I'm able to then put that over on my website and repurpose that content. I know for me, my biggest tip is definitely going to go along with Amber's. Practice what you read. Know where your cutoff point is. Make sure you end at a really impactful point where they have to know what happens next. And then, as always, for any live broadcast ever, have some water next to you because you're going to need it if you're reading a book. That's very, very important. All right. So live readings are very important. This is something that's going to be very impactful for us as authors. If you're an entrepreneur who does not write books, there are other things that you can be reading as well. If you want to show off your latest blog post, try reading the first paragraph of it. Or if you are, if you've got a PDF, let's say you're a photographer and you're showing off your what to wear guide, maybe you want to read through some of that live on air and actually flip through it. If you have PDFs that you're giving out as some type of strategist or coach, you can print that off and actually hold it up and show them and start reading some of it to them just so that entices them to go grab your freebie or whatever it happens to be that you are giving away to your people. So live reading is not just for us authors, it's for all entrepreneurs as well. I'm sure there's stuff in your business that you can implement this with, and that's a great time to...
I'm going to cut in and say, I do have an idea. As an entrepreneur, I do have an idea for this. For good reviews that you've received, have like live readings of reviews. This is what so-and-so said about this product, and I just want to say thank you to so-and-so. Pull up those reviews. If you don't want to use those names, you don't have to use the names, but use the review and just go down and say thank you for the good words, you know, like...
Yeah, for sure. And the cool thing about using BeLive is that it actually gives you the ability to put it up there. I know as a social media strategist, every single week I jump on my show on Wednesdays and I take 20 minutes where I do an Ask Me Anything session. And any of my students, anybody hanging out can come and ask me a social media marketing question and get an answer in real time in those 20 minutes every single Wednesday. And I typically work in some people that have spoken to me over on my YouTube channel or have DM'd me if they've got questions, if they have comments, if they are leaving reviews, if they're leaving praise, if they're saying something is helpful, I will give them a shout out. And I just take a little screen grab of that and toss it right up on my screen with BeLive. And then I'm able to read that out. And it doesn't truncate anything. It's nice and big and beautiful. And it really shows them off. I can blur out the name if I need to, or I can sing their praises for singing my praises. So I absolutely love that as well. All right. Readings, doing live book reviews or reviews, great live broadcasting. You guys can use that in your business as well. I do want a little bit about some other ways that we're using live streaming. And as authors, we like to do something called giveaways. Now, if you have not used giveaways inside of your platform, inside of your industry, inside of your business, it's a great thing to do. Make sure you know the rules on doing that. But ladies, have you used live streams to do giveaways?
Oh yeah, I've definitely, I've used it for my books and also for my candles. It's hands down like the best way to get not only like engagement, you're being seen, more people are looking at this this giveaway. You know, it's not just a picture popping up, you're learning about it. What exactly you're giving away, you get to see it in 3D form, like you not just like a flat picture on the screen, you're seeing it being held up and shown. You get to talk about it, give like a little summary, go for a book, you get to give a summary of your book and everything. This is what you could win. It's definitely a great way to promote your giveaway too.
Susan's in the comments. I love what she's saying. live reading my recipes in my cookbook and then showing them how to cook that recipe on the next show. It's a great idea. Susan, that is a great idea. I love that. Let us know how you as an entrepreneur can use some form of live reading in your live broadcasting and how that would impact you as an entrepreneur. Monica is excited about the giveaways. Yes, us too. Giveaways are amazing. Just like they're doing live here on LiveCon 2019, they are giving away some really cool stuff. Make sure you are paying attention because sometimes they're putting words on the bottom right here where you could win 3 years of free BeLive. All you have to do is jump into those comments. They're going to be announcing them in the afternoons or after the afternoon session. All you got to do is type LiveCon into those comments down below to be entered to win. Amber, how do you use giveaways on your live streams?
I give away books. You can, show that it's, a hardcover. You could show away, like you guys said, like the insides. If I could find a page that has, you could show how it looks, what they're going to be getting. If it's not a book, but it's a book related, keychain or something, you could hold it up, show them. If it's something really unique for the book, you could show them how it works. Like you get a real look at like how it is, and not just a picture of like, here you're going to get this stuff. Like it makes it more desirable, I think.
For sure. Before we jump into our next topic, which actually is some really cool related things, may have to do with some parties, I do want to ask you ladies, how has live broadcasting actually impacted your book sales?
For me, they've made a big difference because you do get to give them a little taste of your writing style when you're doing your live reading, because they get to, they can be ensnared with those live readings. And I know I'm going to repeat myself and say they get to sample the taste of your writing. As an author, we know that our voice kind of stays the same throughout everything, but we have different ways of writing each series or even book, really, because it's ever evolving. But they get to sample it like, oh, is this similar to her other book that I loved? And that way, it really does help sell your past, present, future books, because they get to get those tastes. They get to see them. They get to see you. How do you react? How do you act with them? Because it's all about personality too, But it's super, super helpful that I found, and it really has made a difference because it just makes you more personable to your audience too.
Amber, how about you?
Yeah, it's made a big difference. I feel like when you're live, you're going to be giving out small little tidbits that you wouldn't necessarily think to ever put in a post or anything, that might be that one little thing that is like, what? I want to read that now. Like we were talking earlier, and there was a book about a duck. Well, it had a duck in it. It was a young adult book. And if I hadn't read that book already, I would be like, he's afraid of ducks because of what? And I would have bought that book for that reason. So I feel like when you're live, more like little things come out that could really hook somebody.
I think that's a good point. I know for me personally, I am very, very strategic about what I'm posting, what I'm saying online, the photos, the images, the videos, the captions that I'm putting out there. I love giving those little tidbits to my fans, but I do find that when I'm broadcasting, if I'm just talking and I'm answering a question, sometimes things come out that I hadn't realized or I hadn't thought of, or that are really, really a very good marketing thing for me that just hadn't occurred to me before. And I can then leverage it to do other things with it as well. So I definitely agree. You can end up saying some interesting things on live broadcast that come in really handy later. And definitely find little things that will entice people to grab your books, your products, whatever it is you happen to be selling, just simply by doing live broadcasting. It's pretty awesome. We do have a few minutes left. We're hanging out. If you've got questions for us, now's a great time to drop those down below. I see that we are loving on LiveCon today, and we're dropping all the great ideas for how we would be using this in our businesses. So we love hearing from you guys. Let us know, how do you use BeLive in your marketing strategy? We are going to talk real quick about parties, because in the book world, book launch parties are so important. And a lot of people kind of go with Facebook groups. They kind of just hang out and they post things, but they don't necessarily go live. But the three of us have definitely implemented this into our marketing strategy, and it has, for me, revolutionized the way that I am doing my launch parties and helps me to get way, way, way more sales on the day. And we've all done these fabulous launch parties before, so let's just paint you a little picture here. On our launch days, it's really important to get as many sales as possible as an author. And so we have parties where we jump on and we'll do live readings and we'll introduce our characters. We usually play games. People can win prizes. Sometimes we have other authors on. There's lots of really cool things that we can be implementing into our marketing strategy. So ladies, real quick, just tell me, how have those live broadcast launch parties affected what you're doing in your author life?
Oh, it's definitely helped on day of sales for me, because you get busy during your life and you forget when release days are, and that pops up in your feed and it's, oh my gosh, it's her release day. Or for me, I don't always tell people that I'm releasing something and, hey, join me tomorrow, but they don't know it's a release day. They just know that I'm going live tomorrow. And it's just fun because a lot of the times I like to be interviewed on the release day, having a guest interview me instead of me interviewing a guest, having those prizes go out, and it can be your ebook, it can be swag, it can be all of these glorious things. And it's just, I find it super helpful.
Amber, how about you?
Yeah, it's more of a party this way when you're live, as opposed to like posts where, you know, it's fun to play the games and everything, but it doesn't draw people in right then at that moment. They might, I'll go check it later and then never get back to it, as opposed to when you're right there in the moment and they can connect with you right away. So it really helps with the first day sales.
I absolutely agree with that. Parties are fun because it makes it more social. Absolutely love. Before you two go, I do want to touch on one more thing, and that is talk shows. We are big fans of bookish talk shows or industry talk shows, and Amber and Elle are my co-hosts on Young Adult Edition. You can be joining us every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on my Facebook or my author Facebook, facebook.com/TayaRobinsonBooks, where we interview fabulous authors. We've got all sorts of great people in the community joining us to talk about world news, new releases, bookish topics. We do interviews. So, biggest tips on running a book talk show.
Know what you're talking
about. Have a schedule.
Yes. That's exactly right. Know what you're talking about and have a schedule. We've recently implemented a strategy into Young Adult Edition for the three of us. We actually have a Google Doc to the side, and we've color coordinated what everyone is going to say. Then we implement everything into our BeLive agenda. So as we jump on, we never have to wonder who's going to say next. We don't talk over each other. Usually we get it right, get it wrong. I'm producing and I'm the wrong to speak. We're working on it. It is a growing thing as we run this talk show. And because we're implementing strategy into it, our show is getting better and better and better. We're getting more views. We're getting bigger authors on the show. It's a lot of fun. And it gives us that opportunity to show up every Monday at 10 a.m. and interact with all of our fans in a way that's really impactful and really meaningful to us and to our fans as we are doing this. Any tips before we let you guys go on creating a bookish talk show, Amber?
Oh, sorry, you're lagging a little bit. Just have fun with it, and be yourself and interact with people.
Elle?
Yeah, be yourself, relax. It's all about fun. We still goof up. You don't have to worry about, we honestly goof up. It's Monday. Every Monday that we do this, and every Monday, it's a Monday. So just have fun with it. Be genuine and be as organized as possible, because that's going to save you when you're having a Monday. Know what you're going to be talking about. Know what your topic is. Do not, unless you have something bullets in your head, have your topics lined out for you so you don't end up babbling over a guest if you have a guest on. So that is my advice.
Fantastic. And let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Beaumont Books. You can always find me at lbeaumontbooks.com. You can also find me on YouTube at L Beaumont for behind the scenes, unboxings, interviews, and all that. And you can also find me on Twitter, which is L Beaumont.
Amber, let everybody know where they can find you.
My website is amberrduel.com. I'm on Twitter, amberr_duel, Instagram, amberrduel, and Facebook, amberrduel author.
Thank you so much for joining us, ladies. We appreciate you being here. We are going to pull up Melanie and Dana before we go, as we're hanging out talking all about how authors can implement live broadcasting into their social media strategy. So, ladies, we're talking all about bookish talk shows, and you both have been guests on shows before. So, Dana, give me your best tip for being a good guest on a bookish talk show.
I would say read everything that the host sends to you. I can attest that you, Cam, are an excellent organizer, and I super appreciate that. And, you know, try to be as prepared as possible. Today we were talking offline about how I was running a bit late, but because you had sent everything beforehand, I was, you know, pretty much okay. Like, really, I just needed to get my body here. But yeah, so like, try to be as prepared as possible. This is a job. You need to be a professional. You need to be prepared. So do try to be as prepared as possible for those talk shows.
That is amazing advice. That's really good advice. Melanie, how about you?
Just kind of like, my biggest thing is go in having a script of how are you going to introduce your book? How are you going to introduce yourself? I tend to forget, like, at the moment, like, you know, blank screen in my head. So write it out if you need to. What do you want to say about your book that is going to hook somebody? What are you going to say about your product that, you know, is going to draw people in? And, you know, if you have blank, you know, go blank, you have something there that you can use.
Always have that fallback. That's incredibly important. And hey, if you are joining us live and you want to see the behind the scenes of how I prepare my guests for my talk shows, you can actually go to kmrobinsonbooks.com/KMR/on-air. I'll drop that in the comments for you guys. That is the website I send to my people so they know what to expect when they're coming on one of my shows. It's got all the details there. Feel free to grab it and create your own site just like that for when you invite guests onto your show as well. Dana, let everybody know where they can find you.
So you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Dana Frederick, which you can. Where's my finger? So basically, check the little label there as for the spelling of my name because it is a little bit crazy. And you can find me on Facebook at Words by Dana, and then also you can find my website and all those links at wordsbydana.com.
Perfect. And Melanie, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at melaniegilbertauthor.com and Facebook and Instagram at Melanie Gilbert Author.
Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me today for the panel. Thank you to all of our panelists, L Beaumont, Amber Ardul, Melanie Gilbert, and Dana Frederick. We appreciate all of you being on today's episode. You can come hang out with me at kmrobinsonbooks.com and at kmrobinsonbooks on all of the social media platforms, especially come hang out on YouTube. We've got all sorts of fun replays. And you can hit me up at kmrobinson.com for social media strategy and at kmrobinsonsocial on the social media platforms if you are learning to create a profitable business through smart social media marketing. Thank you so much for having me today. This was so much fun.
That was incredible. You ladies dropped some amazing tips. And Frank, I didn't know authors did live streaming. I thought that was not something ever even occurred to me. So again, this whole day has been eye-opening in all of the multitude of ways that you can use live streaming for so many different types of businesses. I am going to write each and every one of your names down, and I'm going to go get some of your books. I have a voracious 9-year-old reader that I can't keep up with him. And so I am super pleased that you all were here today. Thank you so much. We are going to wrap up. Everyone say goodbye to KM, and thank you
so much, guys.
to all of your beautiful guests for coming in today. Oh my gosh, we did it. Day 1 of LiveCon 2019 is in the books. I can rip up all of my little cards here. I'm not gonna, I might keep them for souvenirs. Today we had an incredible day. Our morning session was filled with incredible speakers. Our afternoon session with incredible panels. We heard from our moderators this afternoon, and then the 5 beautiful authors that discussed how they use live streaming to promote their books. They had tons of great information. Mario was here dropping some amazing knowledge on us. And who is ready for our giveaway winner? If you're ready to hear the giveaway, tell me in the comments that you are ready, because drum roll, please. We have our winner of our day 1 giveaway. Her name is Maria Ortiz. Maria, you won 3 years of the standard plan of BeLive streaming. That is valued at $900. And don't worry, the BeLive team is going to reach out to you. Okay, so they will let you know how to redeem your incredible prize. For those of you that didn't win today, don't worry. We are doing the same giveaway tomorrow. So come back tomorrow. You are not going to want to miss out. We are talking to Team Kiev, which is going to be fantastic. We are going to also have Larry Sparks, Lynn Bardowski, Trucks Gone Wild. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm not gonna miss out on that. The Doctors Wolfson, Lori Apgar, Color Happy, and Chef AJ will be here. So look at all these congratulations and happy birthdays. Everybody is ready. Everyone's here. Mario's back. Awesome. This has been a fantastic first day of LiveCon 2019. Tomorrow, we are going to have another fun-filled day for you. Starts at 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm sorry, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, and I will see you then. Thanks for being here. Bye.